Every day, a quiet war goes on inside the minds of millions of people. They were at war with each other. A lot of them don't even know they're going crazy. They already feel bad when they wake up. As they look through their phones, they criticize, compare, and wish they were someone else. They beat themselves up over every mistake, flaw, and scar they have. And the worst part? They think this is fine. They think that having some self-hatred is just being realistic. They believe that loving themselves is a luxury that they will never be able to afford. But that lie ends now. There is a truth that you are about to learn that is not taught in school, not shared on social media, and cannot be taken away from you once you hear it. You don't have to work for real self-love. You remember it. You are already that. Buddhist teachings say that we should take away one bad story, one heavy load, and one mean voice inside you at a time until there is only the truth left. You were never hurt. You were enough all the time. You forgot. Make yourself comfy, stay close and pay close attention, because when this trip is over, you won't just know how to love yourself. It will feel like a fire inside you that will never go out. Let's start. You're still here, which means you're ready in some way. Are you ready to stop existing and change the way you live with yourself? Let's start with the mirror of kindness, which is the first door to real self-love and the one that most people are afraid to open. Every person has a secret place inside their heart that has been waiting to be seen for a very long time, not being judged, not fixed, just saw. It's the part that got hurt the first time love wasn't given, and the part that got stronger the first time shame was thrown at it hard. It's not weak, it's not wrong, and it's not a mistake. There is still a wounded child underneath every hard shell, every angry reaction, and every habit that hurts oneself. Self-love will always feel like a trick you can't figure out, as long as this part is seen with kindness instead of criticism, and is dealt with like a lost child found crying in the woods. The world has taught people to be mean to their wounds, to demand answers, and to think they are flawed because they feel pain. Buddhism, on the other hand, teaches a very different way. To sit next to the hurt self with open arms, just the way it is, without expecting it to change first, not to destroy it or deny it. That moment when you stop asking yourself, "What's wrong with me?" and ask, "What hurt you so badly that you had to put up these walls?" Everything changes. Self-love doesn't come from being proud or doing well. It starts the moment that kindness touches the parts of you that you thought were too broken to be fixed. It starts when you see the parts of yourself that are shaking not as enemies, but as survivors of a battle you were too young to fight. This isn't taught because a world that is hooked on comparing makes money off of people who hate themselves. It would be bad for business, advertising, and people's mental health if everyone remembered how precious their inner child is. They would also stop trying to fix pain that wasn't caused by a lack of success, beauty, or money in the first place. It happened because they forgot that they were enough. Modern life screams over a truth that Buddhism whispers, "Your pain is not proof that you failed. It shows that you are still sensitive enough to care and human enough to heal." Looking at yourself with the same compassion a wise monk would have for a lost and scared child changes everything in your life. You kneel down instead of telling the child to stop crying. You put out your arms. You don't ask, "Why aren't you tougher?" Instead you say, "You're safe now. I'm here. You don't have to be alone anymore." This is not weakness. This is the first strong thing they did, and it is a big deal. You can't find peace with a guru, a friendship, or anything else until you do this for yourself. When you hurt yourself, it's like a child screaming, "Will you finally listen to me?" It's not because you have no hope that you blank, lash out, or give up. Because you still believe that no one will want it unless it's perfect, even though your soul has been hurt. Don't come here to prove yourself, though. You're here to get it back. In Buddhism, one of the most important lessons is that pain is not personal. In no way is it a punishment or an accusation. It happens naturally when you forget what life is really about and what you are really like. It was never meant to be shameful to have parts of you that hurt, feel too much, or battle. The point was to invite them. A call to return to your original kindness, the unbreakable tenderness you had before the world taught you otherwise. When you treat that hurt place with kindness instead of judgment, you start to undo the violence that has been passed down through generations. The most important place to stop the loop is in your own heart. Self-love starts with recognizing yourself, not fixing things. You don't have to fix what makes you hurt before you can be loved. When a monk holds a cracked bowl for holy offerings, they see beauty in the cracks, not in spite of them. You need to see it, respect it, and hold it as precious. Everyone has painful memories, regrets, and fears that keep coming back to haunt them. Each one is an opportunity to practice the mirror of kindness, to tell yourself, "I see you. You don't smell bad. You're not too much. You're not too little. You are still good enough." There are no conditions on right now, without changes, without having to talk about your losses or prove your worth. A lot of people worry that being kind to themselves will make them lazy, weak, and self-centered. That fear doesn't come from the truth. It comes from a world that makes money when you give up on yourself. When you show yourself more kindness, you actually get better. Being kind doesn't make you weaker. It wakes you up with courage. As a matter of fact, it makes you stronger. Just think about the best healers, the ones whose kindness changes people's lives. Were they weak? They might have turned their own pain into a bridge for other people. It starts with you, with just one choice, making the choice to stop putting your own heart to death. If you saw a child who had been picked on, hit, or made to feel like they were not worth anything, would you make them toughen up before you held them? Of course not. You would drop everything, run to them, and give them your whole heart. Thus, why is it so hard to do the same for the parts of yourself that still have those scars? Why do you want strength before you offer safety? Real strength means putting safety first. Giving love first is what heals. That's what kindness looks like. To really love yourself, you must first do that. The Buddha didn't just mean giving kindness to other people when he talked about it. He also said to give it to yourself, because you are the hardest person you will ever meet. And not just when you're happy with yourself, when you've done well, or when you feel spiritually enough. Forgive yourself even when you're lost, when you're messy, and when you think you don't deserve it the least. That's the most important time. In that moment, the seeds of real change are planted. Meeting yourself with judgment only makes the hurt worse. Being kind to yourself starts to close it, slowly, gently, and honestly. It won't happen right away. Just like it takes seasons for a broken tree to heal, your healing will happen at a pace that you can't control. Though every time you are kind to yourself, every time you hold yourself instead of judging yourself, that's one more step toward becoming whole again. It takes a lot of bravery to be kind when everyone else taught you to be mean. When you were taught to be tough, it takes a lot of rejection to soften. You choose to see a person worthy of kindness every time you look in the mirror, though. That's against every lie you've ever been told. You've chosen life over being dead. Freedom is more important to you than fear. Never wait to love yourself, even when you're not good enough. Stop being so hard on yourself before your life looks like a beautiful magazine cover. The kid inside you doesn't want you to change into someone else. That kid is waiting for you to finally tell them, you are enough just the way you are. And when you do, something old and beautiful starts to move inside you. A thought, being aware. The truth is that you were never not good enough to begin with. You forgot. This is why having the mirror of kindness is not a nice to have. You have to do it. It's the first and most important thing you need to do to get back to being yourself. Every goal, prayer, and affirmation will feel empty without it, because the hurt part of you will keep asking, "Do you love me yet?" from the inside. Yes is the only answer that will ever stop that question. I do love you, even more so if you believe you don't deserve it, even more so when you think you've failed, even more so when you don't know how to fix yourself. Then I love you the most. Self-love is not the last thing you do after you fix yourself. The ground you need to heal on, the water you need to give your future, and the air you need to take every day. You won't be able to do it. You have to let it happen. You will see yourself less as a task to be completed and more as a mystery to be honored the more you let kindness fill the spaces you used to avoid. That is, not as a problem to be solved, but as a life that must be kept safe. You're not hurt. You are changing. Put the mirror back up now. As a mother sees her lost child, a wise person sees a secret gem, and the sky sees the river reflecting its own beauty. Look into it. This is the first thing you need to know to really love yourself, not to run away from yourself anymore, to not move, to put your arms out, not being afraid to say, "Welcome home." Something old and stubborn inside you may still fight when you finally start to look at yourself in a kind mirror. Not because what you're doing is wrong, but because shame lasts a long time. If you want to heal, even the smallest steps are hard because of guilt. It tells you that you don't deserve to be forgiven and that some things can't be fixed. And if you don't know how to deal with your guilt, it can kill your growing love for yourself before it even grows. That's why the next step is even more important. Getting into a fight with guilt doesn't help. You don't use too much thinking. You break it down. It lets you breathe. It melts from the inside out. And tonight, we find out how to do it. There is a way to breathe that isn't about staying alive, but about being free. A lot of people only breathe enough to stay living, not enough to get better. Their breaths are short and tight, stuck in the top of their chests like little birds that are scared. When they feel guilty, ashamed, or regretful, they breathe even more tightly, which locks the pain deeper in their bodies. Buddhism says that the breath is more than just air. It is life itself and connects the mind to the body and the past to the present. Every breath you take consciously is a call to remember that you are already free. But not many people learn how to say yes to that offer. They can't get out of their guilt stories. Like broken records, they keep playing over old mistakes and blaming themselves for things that don't exist anymore. The breath that lets go of hurt is different. That's not how you think. This isn't about figuring out the blame, explaining it, or making a case for it. It's about putting your own live spirit up against the weight in your chest with something softer, deeper, and warmer than guilt itself. Feelings of guilt. It's over. It is too tight. But the breath gets longer. It starts up. It lets go. When you face guilt, not with more thoughts, but with calm, steady breathing, amazing things begin to happen. The guilt doesn't go away right away. With the slow rise of the sun, it starts to break down, like morning mist. Not a story. There was no fight. Just take your time, melting. Being aware of your breath while you sit still tells your nervous system that it is safe to let go now. There are parts of you that still think punishment is the only way to move forward. You are telling them that you are forgiven, even if you don't believe it yet. You are letting your body loosen up the thousands of tiny knots that shame and guilt have tied together. You don't even have to earn it. The breath doesn't ask for anything. It only gives. It's like a quiet act of kindness to do deep breathing for yourself. Every breath in is a quiet, I accept you, and every breath out is a soft, I release you. Breathe in, acceptance. Let go, forgiveness. Breathe in, I'm ready to stay. Let go of your breath. I'm ready to let go of the past. Don't rush. Do not force. It's important to have faith that your body can fix itself if you let it. A lot of people get forgiveness wrong. They believe it means lying about how hurt they are, or letting someone else off the hook. Real pardon, on the other hand, especially for yourself, is something much deeper. Realizing that carrying shame for all time does not change the past is what it means. It makes the present worse. Once you understand that you can learn from your mistakes without being tied to them forever, you will be wise. Tonglen is a Buddhist practice in which you breathe in pain and breathe out compassion. When used on the inside, it's one of the best ways to deal with guilt. You don't run away from your pain or call it bad. You just take it in. First, you send love to yourself when you breathe out. It's not about wiping away the past. It's about changing how you feel about it. Guilt doesn't turn into a jail. It turns into a doorway. There is a way to better understand and care for your own fragile and beautiful humanity. You stop telling yourself the same old stories when you breathe consciously. Getting off the blame and punishment wheel is what you do. You move into the present moment where guilt can't stay. Guilt stays with us. Being present can heal. It's harder for guilt to control you when you fully breathe into the present moment. The guilt may scream more at first. It might try to make you feel like you're betraying something if you let it go, that you are not taking blame for anything, that you don't understand. But these are the last cries of a ghost that is losing its hold. Those voices get quieter the more you breathe, the less you fight, and the more calm and steady you are. Then, one day, there'll be nothing but background noise, like a radio station playing a song you don't want to dance to. The quiet truth that most people never learn is that feeling guilty does not mean you are good. Being ashamed doesn't make you a good person. You lose track of your own life when you do it. It keeps you stuck in an endless courtroom where you are both the judge and the accused, going over a trial that was over a long time ago. You are invited to leave the courtroom by Buddhism, to put the hammer down, to take a deep breath and step out into the sunshine of your own forgiveness. You will feel something old moving inside you if you sit still, put your hand on your chest, and take one long, slow breath all the way down to your belly. You are not the worst thing you've ever done. That's life itself telling you. You are not the mean things you said or did in the past, the times you wish you could take back, or the versions of yourself you have grown out of. Someone or something much older, bigger, and softer than you are. You are a being that is still becoming, and you should be kind to yourself. You're not saying that the past doesn't matter when you breathe with kindness. You're saying that the past doesn't own you anymore. You are taking back the right to peace that you were born with. You are giving yourself an offering, that you will accept yourself as you are, right now, breath by breath. This practice also hides another secret. It gets easier to forgive other people as you learn to forgive yourself. Because forgiving isn't really about being fair, it's about having freedom. But it's also about choosing not to hold on to the hot coal of anger, even if you think someone else should be punished. Even more so when you think that. For every second you don't forgive, you hurt yourself more than anyone else. By taking deep breaths, you train your body to remember what it's like to be free, the lightness, how open it is, not having a heavy weight pushing down on your chest. It's not an idea. It's not a statement of fact. It's an event that you live. When you feel it, you'll know. To make it even better, practice makes perfect. By breathing, you can forgive yourself and say, I trust that my worth was never destroyed by my worst mistakes. I believe that the good things about me were never erased, even if I messed up, hurt someone or myself, or made decisions I would change in an instant if I could. It was just buried. Right now, I'm giving it new life. There will be days when it's easy to breathe. On other days, it will feel like you're walking through mud. Both are fine. It's not easy to get better. There is a circle. You may go through the same old pains over and over, but each time you'll understand them a little better. Try not to give up. Don't be hard on yourself if you feel heavy. Take a deep breath. Still breathe. Even if it doesn't feel amazing at the time, every breath is a small act of freedom. You will notice something over time. Once you let go of guilt, your days will be free of it. You can no longer be controlled by that shame. That when the old words of punishment come back, you don't have to freak out, but instead take a deep breath, willing to wait, with love. That's when you'll know you've learned more than just a skill. The ground you walk on has changed because of you. You've changed how you live in your own skin. Bad things happen all the time. Without death, there is no love. You can't grow if you don't fall down. But you can live again after feeling guilty. After feeling bad, there can be love. You can start over after every finish that you thought would define you for good. Take a deep breath in that truth. Let it sink into the soft, unsure, or scared parts of you that are still there. As you let out a breath, let it carry some of the weight you were never meant to carry. Take a deep breath at a time, 1 second at a time, until the idea of forgiving others is no longer hard for you. You live in the quiet river. It's the yes that your heart tells itself every time you breathe. You're not here to hurt again and again because of the past. You're here to get back to being whole. You're here to get back the happiness that guilt tried to take away. You came here to be free. Nothing starts or stops until you do one easy, revolutionary thing. Breathe yourself back to life. Something even more delicate comes to life when the breath finally starts to break the chains of guilt. A place. There is a silence inside that is strange and maybe even scary at first. When the noise dies down, you're left with your feelings, which are often very raw. Many people have spent their whole lives either avoiding or trying to fix their emotions. You don't have to change how you feel in order to heal, though. It wants you to be there to see it. A lot of people skip this step without even understanding it, becoming a compassionate witness to your own inner life. Everything will be different. The power of silence comes from a long time ago, not the quiet that comes from being afraid, but the stillness that comes from being present. Buddhism says there is a type of love that is much stronger than compliments and praise. It's the love of just seeing, of giving evidence, of being with pain without trying to get rid of it, fix it, shame it, or hurry it along. This is the first time many people have ever seen themselves this way, not by someone else, but by themselves. In their own minds, most people are stuck in a crazy loop, feel bad, freak out, blame themselves for it, try to push it away, feel worse, do it again. It's like putting oil on a fire to try to put it out. They fall further down the more they try to fix how they feel. There is another way, though. You can break the cycle without bloodshed if you take a step back and watch. You don't need to fight your feelings. You don't have to choke them to death. You only need to see them without any comments, attack free, without making them into bad guys. That kind, caring person inside you is like an old, wise tree that watches a storm go by through its branches. The tree doesn't curse the rain. It doesn't break its own limbs out of anger. It only takes up space. It can bend. When it can, it stands strong. It stays put during the storm without getting washed away. And that's what your heart is getting better at. You don't have to call your sadness bad when it comes up. You do not need to call yourself broken. You don't have to freak out and hide your anger or blow up and feel bad about it when it comes out. You can just say, sadness is here. You don't have to feel bad about being weak when fear grips your chest. You can just say, anger is passing through. As a kind host would greet every friend, no matter how loud or messy they are, you can just say, fear is visiting now. An amazing thing about this exercise is that as soon as you stop fighting your feelings, they lose their power over you. They reach their highest point. They get through. They break down, not being pushed to, without being turned down, without making you sick. The energy you used to hide or play up your feelings is now free to be used for healing, being present, and real life. But this testimony needs to be done with kindness. Cold monitoring is not what it is. It's not aloof disregard. That warm feeling you get when you tell yourself, you are allowed to feel this. That quiet voice that tells you, you are not wrong for being human. And every time you do that, you build a new foundation of self-trust that doesn't fall apart when life gets messy. A lot of people were taught to control their feelings instead of knowing them. It's like telling someone not to cry, get angry, or be scared is like telling them they're not good enough. As if being touched by life were a bad thing. But Buddhism says that having strong feelings is not a bad thing. It's a part of being awake. If your heart is awake, it feels everything: the sadness and the happiness, the fear and the courage, the hopelessness and the awe. It accepts everything without trying to cut off half of what it means to be human. You're not here to turn into a robot that only feels what works for them. You are here to become a huge living place where everything can pass through you without breaking. You can think of every feeling as a stranger knocking on your door. You don't have to let them stay for a long time. You have to recognize that they are there, though. They will get louder and more desperate for your attention if you ignore them or fight them. You start to tell the difference between pain and suffering when you look at yourself with kindness. Pain is going to happen. When you don't let yourself feel the pain, you feel suffering. Pain is the wind. Being in pain is like tying yourself to a tree in the middle of a storm and not letting go. Witnessing lets the pain go through you without becoming who you are. You feel sad, but you're not sad. You feel angry, but you're not angry. You're not afraid, but you feel afraid. You are the witness, the room, and the kindness that holds everything together. It's a small but revolutionary change to go from identifying to observing. It means that you can handle tough times without breaking down. It means that you might feel lost even though you don't think you are. It means you don't have to feel weak when you cry. The storm is over. The tree still stands. Being a compassionate witness also changes how you deal with yourself when things go wrong. You don't have to judge yourself for not being healed enough, smart enough, or calm enough. You can just take a moment to notice your battle and say, "This is hard," as the truth. When you name it with kindness instead of anger, you give yourself the medicine you've always needed, the freedom to be where you are without feeling bad about it. There's no set time for healing. There's no race. There is no reward for making it to a made-up finish line. Healing takes time and can't be rushed. It happens in layers, circles, and slow awakenings. And every time you show kindness to yourself, you speed up the only kind of healing that matters, the healing that connects you with your soul again. There will still be voices in the world that try to tell you that you are wrong for being sensitive, wrong for suffering, and wrong for feeling too deeply. The compassionate witness is your shield against these voices. Once you're good at careful observation, you don't need anyone else's permission to be alive. You know deep down that your emotions are not getting in the way. They're bridges. That's not a weakness. They open doors to knowledge, understanding, and empathy. It spreads love, which is one of the most beautiful things about developing the witness inside you. You will have more compassion for other people when you have more compassion for your own feelings. You no longer need to manage how other people feel. You no longer need them to be perfect to be safe. You start giving them space the same way you learned to give yourself space. And when you do that, you bring peace to a world that needs it very much. But you can't do any of that until you do it for yourself first. You can't fix anything until you look inside, sit still, and tell whatever comes up, "I see you. You are allowed to be here. You are not alone." Do not scold. Don't rush. Just being there. Take a deep breath. Kindness that doesn't change from a heart that is learning to stay. You won't always be ready for emotional storms, which they will bring. You won't always feel brave. You can always be ready, though. Ready to sit down. Ready to stay. Willing to look at. Being ready to go the extra mile will get you further than any technique, affirmation, or desperate search for an answer. It's not about being perfect that you can love yourself. It's built by being there. By doing something simple and brave, like staying with yourself just the way you are. No changes, no saying sorry. Do not wear masks. Only the real, living truth of what it means to be human can see, respect, and love you. That person is yourself. You are already practicing tonight while you listen. Every time you breathe, every time you let yourself feel something without judging it, and every time you stay with yourself when it would be easier to leave, you are making your life more interesting. Someone you can trust. A string of kindness. A pattern of strong, deep love. This is how you get whole. Not by trying to be a better version of yourself in the future, but by seeing the version that is here now. Messy, beautiful, hurting, and healing, and giving it the gift it has been waiting for the whole time. Your presence. A new kind of silence starts to grow inside you once you learn how to just be with yourself without trying to change how you feel. There wasn't just a void in the silence. There was life, room to breathe, and tenderness that came as a surprise. And if you pay close attention, you can still hear an old, heavy idea rattling away in the background. What most people believe has been true for so long that they think it is true. The idea that you have to earn love. It's not enough to just be living. That's something that needs to be proven. This belief is the cage that most people are locked in. We're going to take it down tonight. There's a harsh story that runs through modern life that is told so often that it sounds like common sense. People will love you if you're good enough. If you do well enough, people will value you. If you do enough, you'll be safe. You lose everything if you fail. Invisible ink was used to write a harsh contract that was signed as a child without ever agreeing to it. You will spend your whole life running on a never-ending track, sure that love is just around the corner if you run fast enough. But if you don't see it for what it is, you will spend your whole life believing that. It's never that, though, because you should never have to earn love. It's important to remember love. Buddhism doesn't say that you have to work for your right to be alive. That doesn't mean you have to collect values like trophies in order to deserve to be loved. It means something much easier and more radical. Just being you is enough. It's already a miracle that you can breathe, feel, and live. You were never meant to act like a stage act when it comes to being worthy. You were meant to wake up to it like when you wake up from a long sleep. The idea of deservingness says that if you make mistakes, you are not worthy. You don't deserve it because of that weakness. You can't be loved because you failed. But these are just the images of a world that is all about conditions. The truth is that your worth has never changed. It stays the same no matter how well or how poorly you do. It stays the same all year, like the sun behind the clouds, through weather and all 4 seasons. For every time you tell yourself, I'll love myself when I lose weight, when I control my temper, when I get more done, or when I stop making mistakes, love gets farther away. It doesn't matter how fast you run, speed was never the problem. It was a direction. Love doesn't live a while from now, it stays here. Right now, in this breath, in this beat of heart. Right now, in this messy, amazing moment. It's not easy to break down the idea that you have to earn love. It goes against everything you've learned. At first, it seems risky, even dangerous. It feels like you're giving up the only thing that kept you going. But you're not giving up growth. This is the last time you'll use the whip to drive yourself. There is still growth without being mean. It's still okay for evolution to happen. In fact, things go better. This is because once you stop seeing yourself as something that needs changing, you finally create the safety that real change can happen. Think of a kid who is just starting to walk. They fall down, they drop, they're sad. No one sane stands over them and yells, "You're not useful until you can run a marathon." At every stage, crawling, wobbling, falling, and getting back up, they are loved very much. No one ever doubts their worth. It is clear, and every awkward or beautiful step shows it. You forgot that you are still that child somewhere along the way. You believed the lie that love is based on how well you do. You start to forget it tonight. The heart doesn't open up because of stress. To open, you need to give permission. The right to live without having to explain every breath you take. The freedom to matter even when things are going well, when you're hurting, or when you're lost. Real self-love doesn't begin when you reach a perfect version of yourself. It begins when you stop trying so hard to be loved and feel like you were always loved. There'll be a voice inside you that says no to this. A voice that asks, "But what about all the mistakes I made? What about the people I hurt? What about the things I still haven't fixed?" Pay close attention. Knowing how valuable you are does not mean you are no longer responsible. It gives it power. When you love yourself without any conditions, it's easier to fix things when they go wrong. Having the power to change harmful habits. You change not because you hate yourself, but because you love yourself enough to want better for yourself and other people. Fear-based change that is short-lived and fragile is caused by conditional love. True change comes from unconditional love that is based on stability, kindness, and a long-term view. A tree gets stronger not by being afraid it will fall over, but by putting its roots deeper into the ground. Not because you're afraid of not being good enough, but because you remember the base that was always there under your fear. Buddhism talks about Buddha nature, which is the idea that everyone, no matter how lost or confused they are, has a spark of knowledge and goodness inside them that can't be destroyed. You didn't earn this spark. It's been shown. Kindness, practice, and memory are what bring it to light. And giving up the idea that you have to earn what you already have is the first thing that will help you find your Buddha nature. Before you said a word, you were good enough. Before you got anything done, before you failed something, before you knew what was going. And now, no matter how messy your life seems, you are worthy. That can't be changed by a mistake, a sorrow, or a wound. Getting rid of the myth of deservingness also changes how you interact with other people. You stop judging them by what they've done, what they've missed, or how well they've done. You begin to see the holiness below. You begin to give yourself the kind of love you've always needed, love that is solid, real, and doesn't depend on anything. You free yourself and everyone else around you at the same time. It takes work to live this way. You need to be aware of when you start to think about earning love again. To stop seeing self-care, rest, happiness, and kindness as things you have to earn, and start seeing them as things you were born with. It takes work to hear the voice that says, "You don't deserve this yet," and tell it, "I already am it. I don't have to deserve it." You will forget things now and then. You'll get caught up in the chase again. Okay, that's fine. When you remember something again, you make a new way through the thicket of old habits. Every time you love yourself without waiting for permission, you plant freedom seeds that will grow and bloom for the rest of your life. You are not here to make love look easy. You were put on this earth to be love like a river, free, flowing, and kind. It's not your job to prove your worth. You're here to live your truth. You're not here to beg for acceptance like an animal in need of food. Don't forget that you have always been enough just the way you are. Stop yourself the next time you say to yourself, "I'll feel better about myself when..." Take deep breaths. Take a look. Feel the ground beneath your feet to tell you that you are already on holy ground. Listen to your heartbeat to tell you that you are already a part of something huge and valuable that you can't even begin to understand. Remind yourself with your breath that you don't have to earn this place. You didn't. This doesn't mean you can stay the same. Right now, you can grow from love instead of fear. To grow as a person, not because you're afraid of not being good enough, but because you can't wait to show the whole of who you are. That's the only thing that will keep you happy for a long time. One of the worst things about the human spirit is the myth of deservingness. It will take time, care, and courage to take it apart. That old lie is false, though. Every step you take away from it and toward the truth that you are always valuable is a change. Everything that ever tried to tell you that you had to earn the right to breathe, hope, dream, and love is turned down. You are not something that needs to be cleaned until it's perfect. You are not a mistake that needs to be fixed all the time. It's still happening, but you are a living wonder. You're the sky. There are no facts to the clouds going through stories. You can watch stories. You can let go of stories. As you sleep tonight, let this truth soak into your whole being. Take it all in. You don't need to work for rest. You don't need to earn peace. You don't have to work for love. You're welcome to have it. You are always welcome. Know this as you sleep. There is nothing more to chase. There is only still everything to get. When you finally give up the tiring quest to show your worth, you start to hear a deeper truth behind closed doors. Most people wouldn't dare give an honest answer to this question. Can you stop fighting your own body if you are already enough and don't have to earn love? Not just put up with it. Not just put up with it as a required pain, but I love it, respect it, honor it. The next step is where real freedom starts, but most people don't go there because they're afraid of facing the things they've been taught to hate about themselves. You won't go back, though. Now you are ready to go into the temple. Your body is fine the way it is. It was never there. It's not a failed project that needs to be fixed over and over again. Hide is not a bad thing to do. There's no need to solve it. Your heart has been with you through every heartbreak, every win, every sleepless night, every laugh that made your ribs shake, and every tear that you thought would drown you. This body has been with you without speaking since before you knew how to thank it. And you're going to start remembering how holy that is tonight. Everyone and everything will try to tell you otherwise. It will scream that your body needs to meet impossible standards before it can be praised. It will fill your mind with pictures of pre-made beauty, It will make money off of your self-hatred. Buddhism, on the other hand, says that real seeing or knowledge cuts through the illusion. Real seeing knows that getting older is not the same as decay, that scars don't make you look bad, that weight, those lines, wrinkles, marks, and other so-called flaws are not mistakes. They are stories that life has written into you. They are the story of how you became who you are today. Get rid of the harsh way you were taught to look at your body before you can love it as it is. You need to put down the comparisons, the judgments, and the never-ending judging and punishing. You should remember that a monk takes care of a temple with quiet respect, not by asking that it be better, newer, or flashier. Taking care of its flaws, fixing the cracks in it, giving thanks for the room it holds by bowing. You don't have to beat your body. The job doesn't need to be perfect. It is a holy place, a field of wonders that only wants to be respected. Every cell is a whole world. Every breath is a prayer. Every step is a little act of making something new. It's not necessary for your heart to beat. You don't have to thank your lungs for expanding. You don't need praise to enjoy the beauty of the world around you. Someone shouldn't have said that this building wasn't already holy. To move from acceptance to respect, you need to change how you talk to yourself. Instead of empty compliments, you need to tell yourself the truth. You don't say, "I guess I have to accept my flaws." You say, "This body is a sacred witness to 1,000 victories I once thought I wouldn't survive." You don't say, "I'll love myself when I look different." You say, "I love this body because it stayed, because it carried me through pain I thought would destroy me." You stop seeing your reflection as something you need to fix and start seeing it as a living altar to the life you have fought so hard to live. You have a lot of power when you love a body that everyone else has taught you to hate. It's an act of defiance against a system that makes money off of your fear. This is a return to a way of thinking that is older than any magazine cover or mean ad. It helps us remember that the body is not just a decoration. It moves the spirit around, a link between the ground and the sky. The mind can dance in this place, a miracle that looks like skin. In Buddhism, it is said over and over that form is emptiness and nothingness is form. Your body is more than just bones and skin. It shows how life itself changes over time. The stars, rivers, and mountains are all made of the same stuff. You're not criticizing anything when you say bad things about your body. You're criticizing a miracle you don't fully understand yet. This is a secret the beauty business won't tell you. No one has ever loved themselves enough to feel beautiful. No one has ever made their body feel bad in order to feel free. Real brightness isn't a shape. It's not a number. It's neither a smooth face nor a molded body. To really shine, someone must no longer be at odds with themselves. It's the soft, enticing peace of someone who lives in their own skin. You don't have to wait for your body to change before loving it. I love it now, just the way it is. I love it when it hurts. I love how heavy it feels. I love it when things are weird. I love it when it shows you strength you didn't know you had. Love it, even if you don't get it, because it has always loved you, even before you were born. It doesn't mean giving up care. Not taking care of your health does not mean that. Instead, you need to change why you care. You don't eat healthy food to hurt your body. You do it to honor it. You move it not to make it fit a certain shape, but to celebrate that it can move. You rest not because you're weak, but because you know what the temple needs. Some days it will be hard. There are times when old voices come back and whisper negative comments and flaws. It's all right. You don't need to get angry at them. You show up to meet them. You face them with the still, quiet voice inside you that says, "This body is holy ground. I will not hurt it with shame." You remember that every line is proof that you lived, laughed, and cried, that each scar shows that you got better, that each stretch mark shows how much you've grown, that every pound you gain or lose shows how your body changed to stay alive. Your body is a live record of how brave you are. There is a power that can't be taken away from you when you bow to your body instead of beating it up. You no longer need approval from other people to feel beautiful. No longer do you have to narrow yourself down to fit in. You don't have to hide anymore. You have the quiet strength of someone who knows they are enough, not because someone else told them so, but because they have seen it for themselves. And when you love your body just the way it is, you can feel more sympathy for other people. Stop judging them based on how they look. Stop thinking that how they look affects how much they're worth. It gets to the point where you see their bodies as holy places with secrets you may never fully understand. You respect them and yourself as much as all living things deserve. It takes more than one step to learn to love your body. There will be days when you feel great. You will have hard days. Both lead to the same place. It's important that you keep walking it. The important thing is that you won't make your own home into a battlefield again. The important thing is that you always choose to be on the side of love. Let your body be enough tonight as you breathe. Just let your heart beat. Just take a deep breath. Put your hands gently on your chest and thank your body for sticking with you, carrying you, and taking all the stress you put on it without asking for anything in return. Say in a soft voice, "I see you, I honor you, I love you." And know that every word is a thread that is weaving you back together. You're not here to get better. You came here to remember what was holy that you had forgotten. You've come back to the temple where you've always lived. And now you're finally here to give it the love it has always needed. When you stop taking out your anger on your body and start honoring it, you start to see something greater that has been shaping your life behind the scenes the whole time. Body is not the only thing that hurts from shame and criticism. It's my inner voice, the sound that only you can hear when no one else is around. The voice that tells you what it thinks about every choice you make, every mistake you feel bad about, and every hope you hold on to. You can't trust that person. It's strong. Every word plants a seed. Those seeds grow into the forest you'll have to walk through someday. We start to change the world tonight. It's not just a habit how you talk to yourself. It's an act of making something. Buddhism says that everything we say, think, and want leaves a mark. Karma, not as a sentence, but as a seed. You plant weeds that will choke your future peace every time you tell yourself you're not worth anything. When you call yourself weak, you dig deep holes in your life that you won't even be aware of. And every time you talk to yourself with patience, kindness, and support, you plant fields that will feed your spirit long after today's problems are forgotten. The things you say to yourself are not just background noise. They are the ones who plan your future. Your mood, your courage, and your hope are shaped by them. Still, most people let their inner thoughts and feelings take over, fed by old fears, complaints, and beliefs they didn't even choose for themselves. They talk to themselves in ways they'd never talk to a friend. They beat themselves with sentences that have been sharpened by years of fights that no one sees. Then they ask themselves why peace seems so far away. Today, you're going to pay more attention when you listen. Not with a verdict, not with fear, but with an interest. What do you want your inner voice to plant? What kind of forest are you making in your head? Is it a place where your spirit can rest, grow, and do well? Or is it a prison full of thorns and tangles where you are the guardian? Repeating empty mantras you don't believe is not the way to change the way you talk to yourself. It has to do with seeing clearly. It's about being aware of the ideas that are running through your mind. It's about stopping the hurtful behavior that you have learned to be normal. It's about making the choice over and over to plant seeds that feed instead of seeds that hurt. If you hear harsh thoughts like, "You're such a failure, you'll never change," or "You always mess things up," don't fight them at first. Just pay attention to it. Watch it like a monk watches a cloud move across the sky. Check out how old it feels. Listen to how heavy it sounds. Know that it's not the voice of truth. It's the sound of all the hurts you didn't deserve. You can start to change it once you know about it. Kindly, over and over. Like pulling weeds with steady hands and not anger. When you hear the angry voice, you say something different, something nicer, something more true. You don't act like the pain isn't there. You just refuse to feed it anymore. You don't say, "I failed." You say, "I'm learning," and that takes courage. You say, "I am changing," even though it feels slow, instead of, "I'll never change." Rather than, "I always mess things up," you tell me, "I am doing my best, and that is enough for today." You're not telling yourself lies. That which you say is more true. This is the truth, but it gives room for mistakes, growth, and people. The kind of truth that doesn't kill the seeds of self-respect and hope, but instead waters them. Buddhism says that you become what you think about a lot. Your mind is like a field. You will walk through thorns if you plant them. You will walk through flowers if you plant them. Mind, on the other hand, doesn't care what you plant. Any seeds you choose will grow in it. In this case, there is both risk and chance. Most people don't understand that each insult they say to themselves makes it harder to handle the next one, that each mean word they say to themselves adds to the net that holds them down. Freedom doesn't come from outside accomplishments. You can find it in the choice you make in your head to start speaking differently. And you won't see the effects right away when you decide to make this change and plant new seeds. Like in a garden, the first signs of life are tucked away in the ground. Without giving up, you keep talking, even when it seems silly. You keep picking kindness, even though it feels more natural to be mean. Even though you're tired, you keep pulling out the old weeds. Then, one day, you notice something is changed, but not in a big way. You notice that you're calm where you used to be scared. You hear your inner self giving you support instead of criticism. You're not afraid as you walk through the forest of your own thoughts. This change is big. It's what everything is built on. The story of your life is not set in stone. It's written in the things you say to yourself when no one is around. Some days, the old opinions will be stronger. There will be days when you talk to yourself in ways that are based on fear and judgment. That's fine. It doesn't mean you really failed. It means you're a person. It means the forest is still getting bigger. That means you are still learning which seeds to feed and which ones to leave alone. Do not worry on those days. Don't give up. Just take note. Take a deep breath. Just go back to the gentle discipline of being careful with your words. Each word is important. Each thought is important. You change the dirt of your life every time you catch yourself slipping and choose a nicer thought instead. Not being good at this is not why you are here. It's important that you wait here. You're here to keep going. You're here to become the loving gardener of your own mind. Pull weeds without getting mad, plant flowers slowly, and trust that the roots are growing even if you can't see them yet. Also, most people don't know this, but being kind to yourself makes you better, not less strong, more powerful, because you won't waste time and energy fighting yourself when your inner voice is your friend instead of your enemy. You can use that energy to get better, heal, and dream bigger than you ever thought possible. It's not hard to understand the fate of inner words. It's right away. It builds on itself. Without a doubt, it is very powerful. You build strength every time you tell yourself, "I'm doing my best." You plant the seed of sustainability every time you tell yourself, "It's okay to rest." When you tell yourself, "I deserve love," you plant the seeds of peace that will last forever. You don't have to live with the inner world you were given. You don't have to live with the nasty memories of other people. You can choose a different path and make it happen. You can do this without forcing yourself to think only good things. Instead, you can replace the language of fear with the language of love, slowly but surely. Life will change along with the words you say to yourself. After moving slowly at first, it moved at an amazing speed. You will see chances where you used to only see problems. You will have courage where you only had doubt before. You will start to believe that you are fully allowed to live, flaws and all, because there is a forest inside you that is always listening. You are also starting something new tonight, something lovely. It's going to get bigger, stronger, and crazier than you can even imagine right now, because you decided in 1,000 little moments that you couldn't see to talk to yourself like you were good enough. Since you are, you've always been. It's finally time for you to learn how to tell yourself that and believe it. Something even deeper starts to come to the surface as your inner voice gets softer, stronger, and more based in kindness. Sounds from the past. Regrets in peace. When you gave up on yourself, when you didn't speak your truth, when you put other people's needs ahead of your own, and when you turned away from your own pain to avoid being uncomfortable. These times won't go away just because you're being nice now. They wait. They stay. You might not have known how to say sorry before they ask you to do it. Not the scary kind where you feel guilty and hurt yourself. A holy, quiet kind. A peace between you and your own spirit. You will finally start to get along with the parts of yourself that you left behind tonight. This hurt gets worse every time you lie to yourself. There's no scream. It doesn't need your attention. It hardens in silence. It builds walls in silence. It teaches you to not trust yourself in a quiet way. And broken self-trust doesn't come back with vows alone. It comes back to do something in a humble way. Thanks for your help. For real healing, Buddhism says not to act like the breakup never happened. It's about going in that direction, bowing down to it, saying the apology that someone always needed to say but never did. It's not weak to say sorry to yourself in silence. They are strong. They show guts by taking responsibility without getting in trouble. Of seeing where you gave up on your own truth and, instead of beating yourself up for it, knelt next to the wound and whispered, "I'm sorry I left you. I'm here now." When you lied to yourself, it wasn't because you were bad, broken, or stupid. They were ways to stay alive. You kept quiet to avoid being turned down. To feel safe, you hid the truth. Somewhere deep down, you learned that your needs didn't matter, so you gave up on them. It's not about who is to blame. This is about getting it. And when you understand, you can truly forgive. It's simple, but not easy to say sorry in silence. You just sit there. You take deep breaths. I'm sure you can think of a time when you knew something wasn't right, but chose to ignore that sharp little pain inside you. Not to make yourself feel bad, not to fall into shame, but to respect the wound by being there. If that memory comes back to you, don't think about it or judge it. Instead, put your hand over your heart and tell yourself, "I'm sorry. I see you now. You didn't deserve to be abandoned. I will not abandon you again." Not a story. Do not harm yourself. Just be honest. Take care. Some cuts will get better quickly. Some people won't want to be seen. Some people will feel too raw and stuck in old shame. It's all right. There's no need to push anything. Digging is not a part of healing. Making the space for what needs to be healed to come to the top is what it's all about. You stay when it does. You don't run. You don't numb. You stay. You say sorry in your head without any conditions or buts, and you don't try to explain why you had to betray yourself. You just agree with it. You let yourself feel how sad it was. You took deep breaths to get through the pain, and when you do that, you start to repair the broken trust in your own heart. You learn that you are not safe with yourself after being betrayed by someone else. It teaches you that no one can trust you to keep your truth safe. That feeling of not being safe affects all of your relationships, decisions, and dreams. The slow, beautiful work of putting safety back together starts with quiet apologies. When you hurt yourself, hurting yourself more won't help. You can heal it by going back to the place where you first gave up on yourself and making a different choice this time. Stand with yourself after you've left before. By listening where you used to be quiet. By trusting yourself when you didn't trust yourself before. And here's a secret that most people never learn. The more you say sorry to yourself in your head, the more easily you will start to act differently. Not because you make it happen, but because you don't want to leave yourself again. You no longer want to feel the pain of giving up on yourself. You love in different ways, so you choose in different ways, because you believe different things. You don't have to keep asking other people to apologize. Silent apologies free you from that loop. You understand that what someone did to you was never the worst kind of deception. It was what you were told to do to deal with it. The power that other people had over your peace goes away when you heal that and stand with yourself again. They are no longer the ones who can heal you. Yes, you do. And when you say sorry in silence often, something even softer starts to wake up. Feeling sorry. Stop being so mean to yourself when you were younger. Stop judging the parts of you that made bad decisions out of desperation. You stop seeing yourself as the bad guy who messed everything up and start seeing yourself as a hurt traveler who did the best they could with the tools they had at the time. Not only do you whisper, "I'm sorry," but you also say, "Thank you for surviving. Thank you for trying. Thank you for not giving up, even when you wanted to." And the walls inside you start to fall down with each word and breath of forgiveness. You thought the hardness would last forever, but it starts to melt. The places you thought were too broken to heal start to glow softly from the inside. There isn't a set time for this. There will be times when you need to say sorry many times before the wounds start to heal. Some people will only need one real moment of being there. Believe in the process. Believe what your heart tells you. Trust is what makes healing happen, not how quickly you want it to happen. Also, don't be shocked if you feel sad along the way. It's not a failure to be sad. It's an important part of getting better. You're sad about the times you didn't know how to defend yourself. You're sad about the chances you missed, the facts you kept to yourself, and the years you wasted looking for love elsewhere because you didn't know how to give it to yourself. Let the sadness come. Allow it to pass through you. Every tear is a quiet apology that makes its way home. This practice changes what it means to be strong as well. Strength isn't never let yourself down again. Strength is being able to tell faster when you do. Picking to come back over and over without shame or anger is what makes you strong. I may have left myself before, but today I choose differently, is what strength means. Over time, you'll notice that the places where you used to feel empty and ashamed are now full of quiet strength. That the soft, wise, and beautiful parts of you that you used to want to hide are now truly you. No longer does that self-betrayal feel like it has to happen. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't seem possible, because you now always stand by yourself. There will still be things that want you. There are times when it's easier to hide your truth, fit in, and lose yourself to avoid pain. That is normal. That's fine. You will now see the cost, though. Now the pull of self-love will be stronger than the pull of the unknown. Now you'll pick to stay true more often than not. You will know how to get back if you don't make it, which will happen sometimes, not by punishing them, not with sadness. With your hand over your heart and a wordless apology, say to yourself, "I see you. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm here." This is not a one-time thing. It's a relationship for life. It's a promise for life. And it is worth every bit of work, every painful breath, every tear, and every shaking act of forgiveness. At the end of the day, every other connection you have will be built on the one you have with yourself. When you heal that, everything else starts to heal too. Let the quiet sorry rise tonight while you sleep. Let them run without being afraid, without any bias, not in a hurry. Make them soft. Allow them to be real. Let them be enough. Because you didn't wait for someone else to save you. You were ready for yourself. And now you're finally here. As you start to say sorry to yourself in your head and heal the wounds caused by past betrayals, another tender truth starts to come into focus. You know that some parts of your life still hurt. There were parts that were never really finished. There were stories that didn't have a happy ending, wounds that throb quietly below the surface even after years have passed. And you know that fixing, pushing, or rushing them hasn't made them go away, because they were never meant to be erased. They were meant to be loved just the way they are, living, unfinished, raw, and flawed. Tonight is the start of one of the hardest and holiest practices of all, learning to love what is still healing instead of trying to get rid of what is still healing. There is a deep need in people to find peace, to make ends nice, for perfect stories of recovery. Hunger makes people think about past talks over and over again and wish they had said something different each time. The thirst that keeps you up at night thinking about what-ifs and if-onlys says you can't be at peace until everything is fixed. But Buddhism teaches a different way of knowing. It shows that life is like a story that isn't over yet. Putting every loose end in its place won't bring peace. It comes from being able to accept the mess as it is and say, even this belongs. Some pain will not make sense. Not every breakup will have a reason. Not all dreams come true. Not every friendship can be fixed. There are some wrongs that can't be fixed. You will wait a very long time if you wait for those things before letting yourself feel whole. Being whole doesn't mean having everything go perfectly. It comes from being there. This powerful feeling comes from liking something that is still hurt, unclear, or unfinished. When you sit with unfinished stories, you have to fight the urge to speed up your healing just to feel better. It means letting your sadness happen at its own speed. In this case, it means leaving open questions alone without putting yourself through unnecessary pain to get answers. Giving sorrow room to breathe without trying to silence it is what it means. It means being with the hurt parts of yourself and telling them, you don't have to be healed to be loved. You're not just sitting there in this way. It's active kindness. It means choosing to stay with your own pain instead of running away from it again. It means deciding to see your own sadness without trying to hide it. It means choosing to see your pain not as a flaw, but as a holy sign that you are ready to live fully, to feel deeply, and to risk being broken in the search for connection and meaning. The parts of your story that you haven't finished aren't mistakes. They show that you were brave enough to live your life even though you knew there were risks. They show that you were brave enough to love, hope, and believe even when things didn't go as planned. They show that your heart was never small or weak. It was big enough that it might break. In Buddhism, the flower that grows from the mud is talked about a lot, but it doesn't always say that the mud will go away. It's because of the mud that the lotus flower rises, not in spite of it. The mud is your unwritten stories. It's in the dirty, cloudy, and painful places that your true beauty grows. It's good for your spirit to grow when you sit with them without trying to fix them. You can be quiet and dignified if you don't rush your own becoming. It's strong to say, I can love myself here, even if this story never ends the way I wanted it to. It's smart to know that healing doesn't always look like ending a story. What it looks like is keeping your heart open even though you have scars. You might want to avoid thinking about or writing about your unwritten stories by telling yourself they don't matter or getting distracted by other things. but you don't have to get rid of the parts of you that still hurt. People need to see them. They should be praised. They should not be pushed to the back of your mind, but should be a part of your life. Realizing that healing doesn't happen in a straight line is another part of sitting with unfinished stories. You will feel free and light some days, and the old pain will barely touch you. On other days, the pain will come back as quickly as it started. In neither case does it mean you are failing. There are no straight lines in healing. With each visit, there is a chance to sit more deeply, love more fully, and stay more bravely. And here's a truth that not many people talk about. The most alive people aren't the ones who have perfectly finished every chapter. They are the ones who have learned to handle their open wounds with style. These are the people who know that life has many starts, middles, and does not always end. They are the ones who can enjoy the surprise without having to figure it out. When you get used to spending time with your unwritten stories, you won't feel the need to make up stories of success. You don't have to act like everything happens for a reason you can figure out right away. You no longer have to make your pain sound like something other people can handle. As messy, emotional, and unfinished as your story is, you love it just the way it is. This exercise also makes you very humble. It helps you remember that you are not the only one who makes your life happen. That some stories will never end because they were never yours to end on your own. That healing can happen without words, even after the person has tried to speak. It's possible to understand something years after being confused about it. That love can last even after you say goodbye. You're not weak just because you have unfinished stories. You are a person. It takes courage to stay linked to your heart, even when it hurts for you. You're smart to know that some questions will keep coming up, and that your worth doesn't depend on shutting them up. Let whatever is still hurting you sit with while you breathe tonight. Hold on to the stories that don't have neat ends. If there are parts of your life that feel unfinished, let yourself love them. Say to them in a soft voice, not impatiently, "You are not a mistake. You are part of my sacred becoming." Believe that telling your unfinished stories is making you softer, stronger, and more deeply connected than you could have been if everything had gone as planned. Even if you can't see it yet, you're not broken because you're still growing. You're beautiful because you're ready to love yourself through every unfinished story. You are the story that is still being made. That's more than enough. You will feel stronger, calmer, and less likely to break when you learn to sit with your unfinished stories without trying to erase them. Stop trying to find a nice finish. You no longer need permission to be whole. You start to trust how things are going to happen. There is a hard, burning truth that comes with this new clarity, though. You begin to understand how much the world you were born into was made to make you dislike yourself. Self-doubt, self-criticism, and constant comparison are sold as normal ways to live, and you start to notice this. You learn something that changes everything. Loving yourself in a world that makes money off of your hate for yourself is not weakness. It is a revolt. It's a moral insult. It's one of the most important things you can do. Almost everyone is told they are not good enough from the time they can understand words. Not nice enough, not smart enough, not thin enough, not enough of a win, not good enough. Every ad, magazine cover, and comparison plant the same poisonous seed. You are lacking. Fix yourself. Then maybe you'll be worthy. The sad thing is that millions of people spend their whole lives trying to earn love they were told they didn't deserve and are never good enough. A lot of the time, they chase after goods, titles, and approval to fill a hole that was never there to begin with. This is not how Buddhism teaches, though. It shows that you were never broken from your basic nature. It was just hidden. Fear, shame, and training have covered them up. Your job is not to prove yourself worthy. Remember that you were always there. In a world that is designed to make you always feel bad about yourself and strive, self-compassion is a quiet act of defiance. Saying, "I love you just the way you are," when you look at yourself, not your cleaned up or polished self, but your real, messy, painful, raw self, is against every system that makes money off of your fear. You are leaving the never-ending need for approval behind. You won't let the sickness of the world take root in your heart. Also, don't get it wrong. Systems that feed on comparison and feeling like you're not good enough are not neutral. They're strong. They never give up. Every day, they will try to pull you back. Hate yourself just a little, and you'll fit in. Starve your soul just a little, and you'll be accepted. Shrink yourself just a little, and you'll be loved. But self-compassion says no. I am no longer for sale, self-compassion tells you. Being kind to yourself doesn't mean you don't see your flaws. To choose to see them with love instead of criticism is to love them. It means deciding to think that growth can come from being kind, not mean. That forgiveness, not penalties, can help people get better. That becoming whole doesn't mean becoming perfect. It means becoming deeply and fiercely devoted to your unique humanness. When you treat your own pain with kindness instead of anger, you build a life that can't be bought or broken by outside forces. You are building an inner base that stays strong even when the world around you shakes. You are making the choice to live based on truth instead of fear. People will say that being kind to yourself is selfish, that accepting who you are will make you lazy, weak, and cocky. But really, think about it. Who gains from you believing that lie? What good does it do to hate yourself? Who wins when you're always ashamed? It's not you. It was never there. Being kind to yourself doesn't mean putting up walls around your heart. It has to do with taking down the inner walls that told you that love had to be won. It's about keeping your heart open in a world that tries to make you tough. It's about having the guts to say, "I won't give up on myself, even if everyone else says I should." Also, not many people know this. The more you love yourself, the harder it is for other people to control you. You stop trying to get praise from people who don't want what's best for you. You stop shaping yourself in ways that make other people feel good. You live your life from a deep, stable place inside that doesn't have to show anything to you. Being kind to yourself makes you more kind to other people, not less. You stop seeing other people as competition when you stop seeing yourself as competition. You no longer need them to fail in order to feel better about yourself. You no longer need them to be perfect, to be safe. You start to feel the same compassion for their pain that you have learned to give yourself. Self-compassion is still novel, though, because it challenges the status quo. Every story that says you have to suffer to be good is in danger. It threatens every system that makes money when your scars stay open. It puts at risk all the relationships that depend on you keeping quiet and small. To love yourself in a world that makes you feel bad for living is to carry on the spiritual revolution's torch. It means, I will not spend my one precious life despising the body that carries me. I will not spend my one precious life starving the soul that is already enough. I will not spend my one precious life chasing a love I already carry inside me. Yes, there will be times when you feel alone. When you choose self-compassion, you may need to stay away from groups of people who share your feelings of hating yourself. It means not taking part in talks that bring other people down, including yourself. It means being able to sit still and enjoy yourself in your own company, even if other people don't get it. It gets less lonely, though. The thing that grows in its place is really cool. Freedom. A deep, quiet peace that can't be shaken. This is the kind of freedom that can't be bought with money, a title, a number on a scale, or a quick compliment from someone else. The kind of freedom that lets you know, I belong here. I belong to myself. Being kind to yourself doesn't mean you stop trying to get better. It means you ought not to strive out of fear. You grow when you love someone. If you start making things, it's not to prove how valuable you are, but to show it. You start dreaming not because you don't have enough, but because you have too much. Also, every time you choose kindness over cruelty, forgiveness over judgment, and sensitivity over punishment, you change more than just your own life. You are changing the world without anyone noticing, because someone who is happy with themselves is strong. Someone who loves themselves is a light. Someone who doesn't want to live in shame shows others that there is another way. Being kind to yourself is not inactive. It's not stupid. It's very rough. It follows the rules. It's a brave thing to do every day, and it requires being open, soft, flawed, slow, and present. All of the things you've been told to avoid. Peace, belonging, respect, and joy are just a few of the things that it gives you back. Feel the weight of this truth tonight as you rest and breathe. Being kind to yourself does not make you fail. You are getting better. You're not weak for not wanting to hate yourself to get better. You're smart. You are not selfish for not giving in to someone else's idea of what it means to be worthy. You're free. If the old voices that tell you you're not enough come back, don't respond with anger or hopelessness the next time they do. Instead, respond with self-compassion. Talk to yourself like you would a close friend who is just outside a fight. Be kind when you talk. Be brave when you speak. Speaking from the bottom of your heart will always be true. You don't have to be perfect here. You're here to get whole. You're not here to be eaten up. You're here to shine. You're not here to be little. No matter how fierce or soft, you are here to take up the whole space of your own life. And it all starts right now, not tomorrow or someday. Loving yourself just the way you are is a bold, rebellious, and revolutionary act. As you rise gently through the rebellion of self-compassion and refuse to give in to a world that wants you to hate yourself, another deeper truth starts to come out. It's not enough to love yourself when you're healthy, beautiful, and successful. Self-love isn't real yet if it only grows when you're feeling good. It's still contingent, still weak, and still tied to results. In the places where no one cheers, the real work starts. At times, when your life is simple, awkward, and not very interesting. Tonight is the start of the hardest and most beautiful practice of all, learning to see God in everyday things. Some types of love don't need fireworks to stay alive. To stay dedicated, it doesn't need to achieve anything. It is love that decides to wake up every day next to flaws and stay. This is the love you need to give yourself right now, not the kind that falls in love with you when you're great, the kind that stays the same when you're just being yourself, when you're worn out, when you trip and fall, when you don't feel like doing anything, when you're just a person. Everyone around you is crazy about highlights. There are a lot of great events on social media. The worship of peak moments is what ads are all about. A lot of places tell you that the big successes, the grand adventures, and the picture-perfect milestones are where the meaning is. Buddhism, on the other hand, teaches something else. It says that the holy is not hidden in the uncommon. It comes to life every day. You barely notice the breath. During the meal, you eat without making a fuss. In the laugh that sneaks out during a quiet chat. The way your heart beats, even when you're not doing anything special. You will be cut off from your heart for most of the day if you can only love yourself when things are fun. Because life isn't just a highlight reel most of the time. It's a slow build-up of small, everyday events. Getting your teeth clean, putting away clothes, being stuck in traffic, doing the dishes, taking in the sound of the rain on the window. These don't get in the way of real life. They're real. And whether your love is strong or short-lived depends on how well you can love yourself in them. Not because they are simple, but because they are simple. To love the ordinary, you have to give up your need for excitement. You have to leave the stage where you show off your worth and go into the kitchen where you spill coffee and burn toast and still say, "This too is sacred." You have to love yourself not for what you make, but for just being, for breathing, for existing, for waking up and living another beautiful, messy day. If you know how to look, the dull hours can hold holiness. The awkward stops, the routines that are done over and over, and the small decisions that no one else sees are holy. Sometimes you love yourself so much that you can look at a normal Tuesday afternoon and say, "This matters. I matter, even now." Your old habits will fight you on this. It will tell you that you are wasting your life if you aren't always getting things done. If you don't keep getting better, it will hiss that you are falling behind. It will sneer that every day that goes by without you being noticed or impressive makes you less valuable. But that voice isn't telling the truth. When you believe it, the only thing that gets weaker is your link to your own spirit. Buddhism says that enlightenment is not a big deal that only a few gods can experience. Realization means being able to see things as they really are, not as you want them to be. It means being able to find freedom, kindness, and beauty in the midst of laundry, diapers, and due dates. It means being able to fully wake up in your own life instead of just drifting through it while you wait for something better to start. Life doesn't make you more valuable when things get exciting. When life seems small, you don't become less important. Your worth is consistent and doesn't change no matter what. To live from that truth, you have to learn to love the everyday. It also means getting used to the awkward parts of being human, a time when you say something bad, when you forget what you were going to remember, when you trip, fall, respond too strongly, or get something wrong. You shouldn't feel bad about these mistakes. These things show that you are fully a part of the messy wonder that is life. These things show that you are there. When you can laugh at yourself without being mean, you love yourself more. When you can accept how clumsy you are without feeling bad about it. When you can be kind to yourself, even when you're tired, busy, or not quite right. To love the ordinary, you have to love the parts of yourself that don't make it onto the highlight reel. These parts are just as important as your best moments. It also means giving up the idea that real life will start later. Once you've reached your targets, once you've fixed your mistakes. Real life is happening now, after you get it right, in this flawed moment, in this flawed body, in this flawed mind. You will miss the only life you ever had if you wait for things to go really well in your life before you let yourself love them. You start to see how rich the everyday is when you practice loving it. The sun's touch on your face feels different now. You can taste your food better now. The sound of laughing, even your own, starts to mean more to you than just background noise. You start to understand that you're not a machine that needs to make the most of every moment. You are a live thing that was made to enjoy every moment. You don't need to scold yourself when you fail, because you will. When you get lost again in seeking the special, when you forget to appreciate the sacredness of a simple day, you just come back. You just breathe. This is enough. I am enough. Even now is all you say to yourself. As you practice, you won't feel as pushed to show anything. To get more praise, do less of it. The less you fear silence, the better. The more you learn to see your life as holy, not because it is perfect, the more at home you feel in it. You change into someone who can smile when they walk into a messy kitchen. Who is thankful for listening to a child's story over and over? Who looks at the rain and feels rich? Who folds laundry and is thankful for having clothes, hands that can fold, and a body that can breathe? You also understand something deeper. Loving the everyday is not the same as settling down. It is waking up. It's stepping into the huge, bright wonder that was always here but wasn't obvious. Living quietly is not a waste of your time. By enjoying the little things, you're not falling behind. You are not missing out if you love your everyday, simple, and flawed life. You've found what most people look for their whole lives. Rest easy tonight as you take deep breaths and drift off to sleep. Enjoy the simple pleasures of this moment. There are no awards being given out. There are no judges around. There is nothing that needs to be done. You're good enough. You are holy. You're at home. When you wake up in the morning, don't see the day as something that stops you from being great. Instead, see it as a holy space where you can love yourself more deeply, more tenderly, more truly, right in the middle of all your normal, beautiful flaws. When you start to enjoy the little things in life, you reach a level of peace that no accomplishment could ever give you. You no longer need to look for times of approval. Don't wait until your life looks like a dream to think you're living it right. When you hit this level of stillness, though, something deeper starts to move beneath the surface. There is a quiet, disturbing question that comes up. Who is the you that you are loving? Is it the list of successes, failures, stories, or labels? Or is it something much bigger and freer? We're going to do something very different tonight. Tonight, we let go of the idea of I and find a love for ourselves that goes beyond any identity. Buddhism says that holding on tight to a fixed sense of self, the idea that you are a constant, separate, and unchanging being, is what causes a lot of pain. It teaches that what you think of as I is not a solid thing, but a process, a river of feelings, thoughts, memories, and experiences that are always changing and unfolding. You're not frozen. I'm still figuring out who you are. And when you stop trying to hold on to a rigid idea of who you are and let your identity soften, you find love that isn't weak, conditional, or brittle. A lot of people spend their whole lives protecting an idea of who they are. They stand up for their stories, their beliefs, their pride, their mistakes, and the labels that put them on. They are afraid that if someone questions one part of who they are, it will bring their whole being down. But the truth is that you were never stuck inside a title. There was never any danger to who you really are. It was only the picture, just the story. Giving up the tight hold on I doesn't mean you go away. It means you get big. It means you need to stop putting yourself in small parts and frozen images. It means you don't worry about losing who you are as you change, grow, or flow. Instead of trying to control your life into a set idea of perfection, you start to love the living, breathing, changing process that you are. Real self-love is based on a paradox. The less you hold on to a fixed idea of who I am, the more kindness grows on its own. Because when you stop worrying about how you look, you make room to see others and yourself clearly. Without the ego's cloud, without the shield of pride, without being afraid of looking bad. As time goes on, you stop loving a perfect version of yourself that you have to protect at all costs. Instead, you start loving the real you, flaws and all. You start to love the person who is bigger than any rank, any mistake, or any success. You love the person telling the story more than the story itself. You start to love other people differently when you love yourself this way. You lose control of their identity when you lose control of your own. You no longer need other people to make your lies about them fit. No longer do you need them to act in ways that make you feel good about yourself. You also see them as puzzles that are still being solved. They are not set characters, enemies, or idols. They are just real people doing their best. It's easy to miss how tight your identity is until you start to let it go. You understand how much pain you've been through trying to be the person you thought you were supposed to be. You understand how often your need to keep up a certain image has held you back. The one that worked, the strong one, the good one, the broken one. Who was hurt? The hero. No matter what kind of mask you made or were given, it feels heavy when you forget it's just a mask. You can be free when you accept that you are not a set thing, but a living process. You are free to change. You are free to fail and get back up. Feel free to hold different ideas. Free to grow up with old stories. Don't hold on to a rock and call it me. Instead, feel free to join the river of life. When you're free, loving yourself stops being something you have to do. It turns into something you live with. It just comes out naturally when you don't constantly fight yourself, defend yourself, or worry that you will be erased if you let yourself change. You learn that you can love yourself even when you're being mean or anxious. When things are clear and when they are not, you can love yourself. Yes, you can love yourself when you're scared and when you're brave. Because these states don't make you who you are. They are like clouds moving across the vast sky of who you are. The sky doesn't turn away the storm. It keeps it. The sky doesn't stick to the sun. That's also true. You're the sky. You're not the storm. You're not the sun. You are the space that holds everything. When you let go of the fixed I, you also let go of the constant pressure to be consistent, which stops real growth. Life isn't always the same. It takes time to heal. It's not a straight line to awaken. If you let yourself be different every day, to be soft one day and tough the next, to be sure one moment and lost the next, you are not failing. You're alive. You're taking a breath. You are changing. Also, as you let yourself soften, you find it easier to feel kindness for everyone, not just yourself. You understand that everyone is bringing a process, not a finished item. There's more to everyone than the names you used to put on them. The people you tried to put them in small boxes are not as safe, magical, or holy as they really are. Letting go of I doesn't mean you lose your identity. It means accepting the way things are, that you know your real self is not something you can define or keep safe. Like a living thing, it's always moving and starting over. It's hard to stop, which makes it even more beautiful. As you breathe into rest tonight, let go of the reins. Let go of the story you have about who you need to be. Let go of the fear that you're not good enough. Let go of the old pictures that don't fit anymore. Feel free when you're something bigger, softer, and more living. You're not just the things you did wrong. You're more than just the wins you've had. You're more than the parts you played. You are more than just the body you live in. There is space inside you where all of these things rise and fall. You are the wonder that sees everything. It's so big that there's nothing left to protect. There is nothing left to show. There's nothing left to earn. Life goes on, one moment at a time, breath by breath, in 1,000 beautiful but flawed ways. Tomorrow, you can be a different person. Change your mind if you want to. You have every right to feel lost sometimes. You can laugh at how seriously you used to think of yourself. You can grow in ways you can't even think of yet. Building a perfect me and holding on to it is not real self-love. It means living with so much kindness and space that you let every part of yourself come out. The tough ones, the ones that are broken, the smart ones, the ones who were lost, they all held. I honor all of them. They all loved. You're not here to turn into a statue. You're going to turn into a river. You're here to move, making soft, for to grow, to be a part of something much bigger than one's own small self. So let go of I and enjoy the freedom of not knowing for sure who you are. This is when you connect with the greatest truth. You are already whole. You're already very big. You already love yourself. A new kind of tenderness comes up inside you when you finally let go of the tight idea of I and start to see yourself as something big, living, and always going through changes. You understand that you don't have to hold on to old identities in order to be real. You don't have to be perfect to be yourself. But there are still storms, even though there is more space. Every once in a while, the emotions get rough. Anger, sadness, jealousy, and fear come in like a flood and threaten to wash away the small, fragile peace you have been building. When you feel like you're not worthy of love, this is when the real test of self-love starts. Tonight, we walk into the middle of the emotional storm, not to run away or fight it, but to make friends with it. There are parts of everyone that they'd rather hide. When your anger gets out of hand and you can't stop it, the sadness that hits you hard when you least expect it, the anger you feel when you know it doesn't make sense. When you thought you were over your fear, it comes back and grabs you. At these times, I feel like I've failed. They make you feel like you're still broken. They are not losers, though. inviting people to come. There are calls to practice a love that doesn't back down, a love that doesn't leave you. We are taught to love ourselves only when we are calm, happy, and kind, when they are happy, successful, and pleased. Buddhism, on the other hand, says that real kindness never fails. You don't have to save it for times when you are clean and look good. When you are messy, raw, and angry on the inside, it is given to you with all its might. A heart that can stay open to itself during a storm of emotions is a heart that has really felt free. People often worry first when they feel a lot of strong emotions. To feel bad about how you feel, to either squish it down or blow it up, to separate yourself from it by judging it. There is another way, though. This is the way of the compassionate example that you have already started to grow. The way of the gentle fighter who sits still in the storm and doesn't run away. You don't have to turn into anger when it comes up. Also, you don't need to push it away. It lets you breathe. When sadness hits you like a tsunami, you don't have to drown. You can quietly tell yourself, "Anger is here, I will stay." It's not something you have to hide. Sadness can come visit, and you can say, "I will make room for it." When anger, fear, or loneliness takes over, you can say, "This is also a part of being human. I will not turn away." Making friends with an emotional storm doesn't mean you like how you feel. Being aware that the feeling is not the enemy is what it means. That which makes us hurt the most is our refusal to feel. Being present during your own storms instead of freaking out makes them less powerful over you. They may still rise very high, they might still shake you, but they go by faster. They get softer faster. This is because they are no longer trying to keep you from being rejected. Anger and sadness don't last forever, which is something most people never learn. They are guests, not residents, no matter how big they feel. Like waves, they go up, peak, and down. They will finish their cycle if you don't grab or push them away as they move through you. But if you freak out, put yourself down, or refuse to feel, you keep them inside, where they fester and get heavy. When you don't feel like you deserve love, loving yourself means being still with your storms and giving them what they've always needed but rarely got: acceptance. Not okaying it, getting along. Don't say, "It's good that I am angry," but adding, "It is human to feel this, and I am still worthy." Don't say, "It's great that I feel jealous," but adding, "It is understandable that my heart aches for what it thinks it lacks, and I am still good." You learn to keep breathing when things get rough. You are allowed to feel this. I am not leaving you. You learn to be the safe place you always wanted someone else would be for you. And by doing that, you start to heal wounds from long before the storm. Many emotional storms are old wounds coming back to the surface. A childhood hurt that was forgotten. An old hurt from being betrayed that has been forgotten. A fear that was never eased. If you stay in the storm instead of running away, these old wounds can finally come to the surface and heal. You give yourself the gift of putting things back together instead of breaking them up. And as you keep practicing, you'll see something amazing. Getting over your fear of feelings gets easier as you stay with yourself through the tough times. Stop being so scared of being sad. Stop letting anger scare you so much. Stop being so embarrassed about being scared. You understand that you don't have to give up during the storm. This realization gives you a deep trust in yourself that no praise from other people could ever match. To befriend an emotional storm, you also need to learn how to ride the waves without making big choices while the water is rough. Clear thinking is hard to do when feelings are high. In this process, you learn to let yourself wait, to take a breath, to feel, to wait for the first waves to hit and pass before you answer, explain, or do something. You learn to trust that the wise will speak after the storm has passed. You also learn that feelings aren't always right. You are not defined by a single feeling. Just because you feel angry doesn't mean you are angry. You are not a bad person just because you feel jealous. Just because you're sad doesn't mean you're broken. You are not how you feel. You are the space that's big enough to hold them all. This practice makes you stronger in ways that go beyond grit and willpower. It makes you strong through love, not force, not in fight, but in patience, in kindness, not harshness. It lets you go through the roughest times inside without getting lost. It teaches you something even more important. You deserve love, not because you are always happy, calm, or smart, but because you are willing to stay with yourself through the rough times. For you are ready to love what is tough to love, as long as you're ready to meet your own heart, whether it's shining or shaking. Let go of the defenses you thought you needed to earn love tonight as you breathe and drift off to sleep. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. You should let yourself be whole, even when you're going through rough times. You don't need to fix the storm tonight. You only need to stay. You only have to breathe. You only have to say to yourself again and again, even now, especially now, I am worthy of love. And know that every time you choose to stay with yourself through the flood, you are becoming someone resilient, not because you never feel pain, but because you never leave yourself behind again. You are not broken because you feel deeply. You're beautiful because you're brave enough to stay in the present moment. You're not failing because things are hard for you. You are alive because you let yourself be fully here, fully human, and fully awake, even when it's storming outside. Instead of running away from your sadness, anger, or fear, learn to stay with yourself through the storms of your emotions. This will help a new kind of kindness grow inside you. It's not very loud. It doesn't make a big deal out of itself with flames. It's quiet and seems shy at first. A tiny bit of trust that says, maybe I don't have to give up on myself anymore. But faith doesn't just appear overnight. It is not built on big claims or dramatic promises. It's built up slowly and steadily by the small, everyday acts of kindness you do for yourself. We start the slow but important work of learning the art of small blessings tonight. Giving lessons is not a good way to rebuild self-trust. It won't get better by scolding yourself into submission. It's fixed by making small decisions. The choice to be kind to yourself after you've made a mistake, instead of being mean. The choice to really rest when you're tired, instead of forcing yourself to work harder out of shame. The choice to accept yourself when you forget, stumble, or aren't perfect. You plant a seed every time you show yourself some kindness, and those seeds grow into a strong forest inside you over time. Most people are told that you have to do amazing things to earn someone's trust. By never giving up, by never having to, by not making any mistakes. Buddhism, on the other hand, says that the most trusting times are not the unusual ones, but the everyday ones. When no one is looking, how you treat yourself. When you are tired, scared, or fail, the way you talk to yourself matters. Small kindnesses are not big acts of kindness. People do simple things that say, "I choose to stay with myself even here." These are the times when they catch themselves talking badly to themselves and choose a nicer word. It's those times when you want to punish yourself for being tired, but you choose to close your eyes for 5 minutes and rest without saying sorry. These are the times when you want to scold yourself for every little mistake, but you resist the urge and instead say, "It's okay, you're still learning." The mind often wants big changes. It tries to fix everything at once. It wants to feel better right away, but real healing takes longer. It goes at the speed of trust. It moves at the speed of small miracles that happen over and over again until they become everything you know. You send a message to the deepest parts of your being every time you show yourself a little kindness. You tell them, "You deserve kindness right now." You don't have to be perfect to deserve care. And "I'm not leaving you, even when things get hard." Over time, they start to believe you. They take the place of the old scripts of abandonment, shame, and violence. They make a place for you to rest inside you. Also, small blessings teach you to be patient. They teach you that getting better doesn't always look like winning. To grow, you may need to catch yourself in the middle of an old pattern and choose a kinder way to go. To forgive yourself after the fact is one way to do it. Seeing the urge to hurt yourself and deciding, even if only for a moment, not to, is sometimes what it looks like. These small acts of kindness are strong because they are so small, due to the fact that they take place in secret, because they add up slowly and without your noticing until one day you realize you are standing on solid ground you made yourself. And the great thing about small blessings is that you don't have to be ready for them. You don't have to wait until you think you deserve it. You don't need to wait until you're sure of yourself. You can begin right now by being patient and kind to yourself the same way you would be with someone you love. You don't blame yourself for missing a due date. You're glad you tried, even though you were scared. In the wake of a tough talk, you calm down. You didn't feel bad about laughing at how awkward you were. It's just you holding your own hand every day until the hand you're holding doesn't feel so lost. In Buddhism, kindness is not just a feeling, but also a way of life. It's not something you feel when it's easy, but something you choose to do even when it's tough. Small blessings are this practice in the real world. These people are live proof that you can heal yourself. They are your quiet protest against everyone who told you that you had to be perfect to be loved. And as you get better, you'll find something really cool. Your whole life will start to change based on how you treat yourself in small ways. You'll be less likely to respond to other people. You'll be able to handle their flaws with more patience. You will feel less needy for approval from other people. You will be stronger and better able to stand tall even when life throws you a lot of twists and turns. Because faith that is built on small acts of kindness is strong. It's not based on being successful or failing all the time. It's made up of small, steady acts of kindness done over and over, even when no one else sees or understands. Small gifts can also teach you new ways to deal with problems. There is no need to feel ashamed when you inevitably fall back into old habits, because you will. You pay attention. You take deep breaths. You say something nice to yourself. You start over. Not a story. Don't be sad. Just one more little kindness. Just one more slow step. This way of life isn't flashy. A world that is always looking for big wins won't always recognize it. It will be real, though. It will last for a while. You will have it. As you breathe out and drift off to sleep tonight, think of one small kindness you can show yourself tomorrow. One small act of kindness. One kind choice. You showed patience for one moment when you normally would have jumped to conclusions. Put that seed down. Use your breath to water it. Have faith that it will get bigger. You don't need to fix everything right away. You don't have to be perfect to be good enough. You only need to start. Being ready to do the smallest kind thing for yourself is all it takes. Trust that over time, those little acts of kindness will grow into a life full of great, unbreakable love. You can still get better. It's not too late to begin. You won't have to go too far to get back. You can always start over with just one small act of kindness. When you show yourself steady care throughout the day, even in the quietest parts, you start to rebuild trust. This is when you start to feel something new rising inside you. A small change, a desire to do more than just stay alive, to feed yourself. Be ready to not only wait with patience, but also move with love. How do you move forward and grow without going back to the old circle of self-punishment? This is a deeper question that has been bothering many people for a long time. When you choose to work hard, how do you do it without hurting your soul? Tonight, you will find the answer in a place that not many people think to look. Effort as love, not as force. There are times when going through life is like pulling chains behind you. It's hard to walk. It feels like every job is a punishment. Every improvement feels like a last-ditch effort to hide the fact that you're not good enough. This is how most people learn to live. Do more, try more, and work on yourself more. Like your whole life is a courthouse and you're always being tried. Buddhism, on the other hand, teaches something else. It shows the way to find a balance, the way to stay away from the extremes of being lazy and being mean to yourself. The way that sees hard work not as a punishment from an unseen judge, but as an offering to God. When it comes from love, effort is not punishment. It is a prayer. It was a vow. This is a kind thing to do for your own heart. Because you care about your teeth, eat foods that make you feel alive, stretch even when you're tired, and go outside for fresh air even when you want to go back to bed. These are not acts of self-control just for the sake of control. They are small acts of love that you do every day. People say, "I am worth the effort. My life is worth tending." To work for your own happiness without force, you have to change why you do what you do. Because you hate yourself, you don't move. You move because you care about yourself enough to want better. Because you feel bad about who you are, you don't change. You change because you are respecting the holy part of yourself. Everything changes because of this shift. When punishment drives you to work hard, you get burned out. It makes you feel empty. It makes every job into a battleground. It makes you want to hit yourself every time you do something wrong. But when your work comes from love, it feeds you. It makes you happy. Even easy things become songs of care when it's done. You find out how to ask a new question. Rather, how can I fix myself? But how can I care for myself more deeply? Rather, how can I force myself to be better? But how can I honor the life blooming inside me? Work that comes from love is not rushed. It stays the same. It takes its time. You will grow if you keep planting, watering, and taking care of a garden that was already precious when you were born. This is not because you are trying to be worthy, but because you are taking care of a garden that was already precious. And working hard in this way changes how you relate to discipline. You no longer use discipline against yourself. It turns into a way of being loyal to your own happiness, a way to make room for the life you want to live, one way to honor your dreams, not because you need them to show your worth, but because they are beautiful on their own. No longer do you judge your worth by how productive you are either. You understand that taking a break when you need to is sometimes the most loving thing you can do. There are times when you have to say no when you normally would have said yes. It's sometimes deciding to be slow when the world wants you to be fast. You understand that work isn't just what you do on the outside, it's the choice you make inside to be kind instead of mean. Effort without force also teaches you how to keep going when things get tough, when there is no drive, as the fire fades, when everything is too heavy. No longer do you need to be scared. You don't have to get in shape again. You believe in loyalty even when the thrill of the moment wears off. With faith, you plant roots that will keep you steady even when storms come. You also give yourself permission to enjoy the little wins. That is, not with pride or stress, but with quiet thanks. You're happy when you get out of bed in the morning. You're happy that you took one step when you were ready to give up. You're happy that you picked a kind thought when the old mean one tried to come back. These parties aren't just for fun. They are the joys that come up naturally when you live in love. In Buddhism, people should try their best, but not too hard or too soft. Compassion, not fear, drives people to do the right thing. It comes from happiness, not need. If you really understand it, you're not running toward a future where you will finally be enough. You're already enough. Your work now is just a way to honor the holiness that was there all along. When you forget, which you will, and fall back into old patterns of shame and force, you don't punish yourself more. You meet yourself with the same steady love you have been practicing. You take deep breaths. You pay attention. You come back. Not a story. Don't be sad. Only the next little step of love. You're not here to change into someone else. You're here to grow as a person. You are here to take care of the seeds of knowledge, joy, and kindness that are already inside you. When you work hard out of love, you learn to move not because you are empty and need to be filled, but because you are full and ready to spill over. It helps you believe that taking care of yourself is holy, not selfish. As you make healthy choices, do kind things, and take slow, deep breaths, you are praying to the holy life inside you. As you rest and breathe tonight, let yourself feel the difference between work that hurts and work that helps. Let yourself pick over and over to move away from love. Put your faith in the fact that the life you are taking such good care of is already holy. It's not lazy of you to need a break. If you need help, you're not being selfish. You're not failing because it takes time to grow. You are just living. You are just a person. You're just learning how to live your life as an act of devotion instead of a race to get by. When it comes to love, every step you take, no matter how small or slow, is important. Right now, you are making something beautiful. It's not through force, but through the steady, holy work of love. When you finally understand that working hard can be an act of love instead of force, and when you're kind instead of mean, a greater truth slowly comes to the surface. You start to wonder why you ever thought you needed to be fixed. You start to realize that most of your pain wasn't really caused by being broken, but by believing that you were broken. Tonight is the start of one of the most important self-love awakenings, realizing that there is nothing wrong with you that needs to be fixed. Instead, you are a living mystery that needs to be respected. It was taught to you from the start to treat yourself badly. Make this better. Keep that hidden. Fix this mistake. Fix that flaw. You were told that every mistake you made meant that you were flawed. Every loss was seen as proof that you were lacking. Buddhism, on the other hand, says that every leaf, breath, and moving cloud tells us a different truth. Nature doesn't feel bad about being there. There is nothing in nature that needs to be fixed before it can fit in. You don't either. You were never meant to be a project. It was never meant for you to be a list. You were meant to be a live, breathing being that changes over time. You were meant to be full of contradictions, surprises, and mysteries that not even you can fully solve. When you stop trying to fix yourself and start admiring yourself, you've grown up in self-love. When you stop seeing your sadness, anger, quirks, wants and fears as flaws that need to be fixed and start seeing them as parts of a rich, complicated tapestry that tells the story of a real, living person's life. You're not a machine that needs to be updated all the time. Every moment, every breath, you are a puzzle that is still being solved. You don't lack anything. You are on the move. You are not flawed. You're still living. This change in point of view makes everything different. From now on, you look at yourself with the warm eyes of an artist instead of the cold eyes of a critic. Don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Instead, ask, "What is blooming in me now?" Stop expecting perfection and instead honor the beautiful diversity of who you are. It's not failure to be complicated. It is wealth. It has depth. You're not just a blank shell without it. For it is this that you can feel kindness, joy, sadness, and awe. Most of the time, the urge to fix yourself comes from fear. Fear that if you aren't perfect, no one will love you. Fear that if you show your whole self, you will be left alone. You might be afraid that you are too much or not enough. Truth be told, though, the parts of you that feel messy, confusing, or even crazy are not things that stop you from loving. They're bridges. They are the ways that life itself shows its beautiful flaws through you. You can break free from the never-ending loop of self-improvement addiction when you stop trying to fix things that aren't broken. The one that tells you, one more course, one more diet, one more accomplishment, and then I'll finally be worthy. You understand that you can still grow, change, and meet your goals, but not because you are lacking, since you're full. To be honest, growth is a happy part of being alive, not a desperate attempt to make a living. To learn to sit with yourself without expecting you to always make sense, you have to learn to be amazed by your own wonder. It means letting yourself be weird, in between, messy, and unfinished from time to time. It means letting your questions stay with you without having to find solutions right away. It also means recognizing your flaws. You can be strong and weak at the same time. You can be smart and still learn new things. Sometimes you can be sure of yourself and unsure of what to do, happy and sad, loving and scared, all at the same time. These inconsistencies don't mean you're broken. They mean you're a person. They mean that you are living at the point where many forces, histories, dreams, and unknowns meet. Buddhism says that holding on to set ideas about ourselves makes us suffer. If you always have to be the strong one, the good one, or the healed one, you will feel bad about yourself when you are weak, messy, or don't know what to do. You make room for everything when you let yourself be a live mystery. You give yourself room to be real instead of perfect. When you start to really think about it, the parts of you that you thought made you not good enough are often the parts that make you whole. Your kindness, how sensitive you are, questions you have, your worries, what you love, even your mistakes, especially your mistakes, can teach you things that you would not have learned if you had stayed safe and perfect. It changes how you treat other people when you see yourself as a live mystery instead of a broken project. You no longer try to fix them. You no longer expect them to easily fit into your plans. You give them the same room for growth that you are learning to give yourself, and connections get stronger, softer, and more living. Being humble is a must for this way of life. You have to be honest with yourself and say that you will never fully understand yourself. You will never be in charge of your life. It's not a tragedy that you will never achieve the ultimate state of having it all together. It feels good. This is a call to keep coming with interest instead of shame. You change into a new person every day. Every time you breathe, you enter a slightly different world. There's no end point. This unfolding, this live dance of becoming and not becoming and becoming again, is all that is there. As you rest and breathe tonight, let yourself enjoy the pleasure of not having to fix yourself. Take a deep breath and remember that you were never broken. Let yourself be amazed by your own breath, heartbeat, and being. Not because you have become perfect, but because you are here, you are living, and you are a mystery that deserves respect. You're not a puzzle that needs to be put together. You're not a mess that needs to be fixed. You are not a mistake that needs to be fixed. You are a wonder that lives and breathes. You are a life stream that flows. You are a story that is still being told and is too big for a single title to fit. And the more you love yourself just the way you are, complicated, unfinished, and beautifully alive, the more you become the gloriously whole person you were always meant to be. The air around you changes when you stop seeing yourself as something that needs to be fixed and start seeing yourself as a living wonder. You need to stop fighting your own feelings. You should no longer feel bad about still revealing yourself, but the world outside is often still harsh, even with this deep change inside. People will still get you wrong. Systems will still try to figure out who you are. Life will still send you storms. During these times, loving yourself isn't just a feeling, it's a must. It builds something inside you that can't be broken. If you want to do something powerful and long-lasting, start tonight by becoming your own haven. Some things have to be done before you can wait for the world to be safe again. when you wait for others to accept you completely, and for systems that were never meant to love you no matter what. You're just playing a waiting game that ends in heartbreak. Buddhism says that the best place to stay is inside, not outside. It's inside of you. It is the safe, quiet place you make inside your heart, where no storm can get to, no rejection can kick you out, and no outside chaos can destroy your sense of connection. It's not by chance that this haven was built. It takes practice, choice, and 1,000 small acts of being true to yourself when the world around you tells you to run, shrink, and reject your own spirit. The first step is to accept that you deserve to be a safe place for yourself. That no matter how hurt or worn out your heart is, it is holy ground. That you can make a home for yourself where you are always enough, always accepted, and always seen. This house wasn't made with force. Kindness is what builds it. You build it up every time you face your own fear without judging it. Every time you make yourself feel better without telling your sadness to go away. Every time you let your anger out without turning it into hate for yourself. Each time, tell yourself, I will never leave you, no matter what. To become your own haven, you need to make your inner space look like the love you've always wanted. It means being kind to yourself like you asked to be heard before. It means giving yourself the safety, comfort, and unshakable loyalty that you used to look for in other people. But it also means making this haven available to everyone. You don't get this prize when you behave well. It's not a place you only go to when you're happy, kind, or smart. A place where you feel safe and loved, even when you're angry, sad, confused, or clumsy. An open-air home where you can stay all night without being locked out. When the weather outside gets bad, this place inside you becomes your anchor. When things are bad, when other people get it wrong, when being turned down hurts, when things don't go as planned. You don't fall apart because your things aren't stuck in changing sands. It's deep inside you and will never leave. To build this haven, you also need to learn how to tell when you've left it. When you fall back into old habits of hurting yourself, giving up on yourself, or trying to be smaller than other people think you should be. You kindly lead yourself back home without judging yourself or giving up. You will work on this for a long time. It takes longer than a day, a month, or a year. It is done one choice at a time, moment by moment. Plus, it gets easier as you do it more often. The faster you can tell when you're leaving yourself, the better. The faster you come back. You learn to tell the difference between what is yours to carry and what is not when you become your own haven. When the hurtful, confusing, and scary things in the world hit you, you learn not to take them all in. You learn to ask, is this mine? And to let go of stones that were never yours. You learn not to use other people's hurts to define yourself. And you don't need to become tough when the world gets loud and sharp and the rains seem to never end. You can stay soft. You can stay open. Because you are safe from the inside out. Stopping your heart doesn't put your safety at risk. It depends on whether you feel like you have a home there. This way of life also changes how you deal with failure, loss, and not knowing what will happen next. You understand that you don't have to be successful at everything to stay safe. To be whole, you don't have to be liked by everyone. To be at peace, you don't need to know everything. The reason being is that your refuge is not based on results. It's based on being there, about love, about love. You make the walls of this inner home stronger every time you sit still with your messy feelings without trying to run away from them. You add another stone to the base every time you listen to the old voice of shame and answer it with kindness instead of anger. You light another candle in your safe place every time you trust yourself, even when everyone else says you shouldn't. Over time, you learn that you can always come back here, no matter what happens outside or how strong the wind is. You can always go back to your heart, which is a stable place. This inner haven is not being alone. It's not shutting the world out of your life. It's not true at all. It's what keeps you linked without making you lose who you are. It's what lets you love other people without falling apart. It's what lets you be fully present, knowing that you are already at home no matter how people treat you. Take a moment to feel the walls of this refuge rise up around you tonight as you rest and breathe. Not walls that keep people in, walls that keep you safe. Not walls made of anger or fear, but walls made of steady love. There are walls that tell you, I belong to myself, I am safe here, I am enough. You're not by yourself. Inside you, you're not lost. You're not so broken that it can't be fixed. You're making a house in your own heart. You are putting out a fire that no rain can put out. You're making a space for your spirit to rest, grow, and shine. Also, every time you choose to come back to this safe place, even if you forget, you make it stronger. You are making a net that can't be broken out of your own things. The world will still be rough at times. You won't be a slave to it, though, because you have found the one place it can't get to. The holy, stable, and always welcoming safe place inside you. And now, you are finally free. You start to feel wiser when you finally build an inner shelter that no storm can destroy, and when you stop relying on the outside world to make you feel safe. You understand that the decisions you make, the things you say and think, and even the way you treat yourself in private are not separate events. They send waves outward. They build something much bigger than this body and this life. Tonight, you grant yourself access to a secret that not many people really know. Every kind thing you do for yourself right now not only heals you, but also shapes your future in ways that are too big to see. According to Buddhism, karma is not a sentence. We call it energy. No matter what you think, say, or do, it creates an unseen current. No outside force is choosing what will happen to you. It's how the seeds you put every day grow naturally. And when you choose to be kind to yourself instead of mean, when you choose patience over shame, when you choose kindness over cruelty, you plant seeds that will grow not only in this life, but also in the next. You are giving the person you will become a gift every moment you are kind to yourself right now. Every nice thing someone says to you in your head turns into a breeze in lives you can't even imagine. Being kind to yourself instead of being mean to yourself makes things easier for all the forms of you that are yet to come. It's not just poems. There is a law of kindness at work here. When you become kinder to yourself, you break loops of violence that have been passed down for generations. You break chains that people have always felt but may not have seen. With your actions, you make a new road where kindness is the norm and cruelty is not. The most important thing is that this change doesn't need to be perfect. You don't have to be angry, make mistakes, or stumble over things all the time. It only asks that when you fall, you choose to reach for kindness. That when you fall, you choose to greet yourself with a kind hand instead of a harsh fist. Make that choice every time, even if your voice and hands are shaking. You are making something holy every time. Your soul is learning a new way to live through you, a way where fear doesn't rule, a way that doesn't use shame as money, a path where steady, quiet love leads you forward. And making this choice over and over again starts to make new grooves in your heart, new ways for your mind to work, new ways of being in your soul, ways that will make it easier to choose love again in the future, to pick patience all over again, to pick kindness again. It's not weak to be soft. Strength doesn't have to scream to be real. It can be soft. Being soft gives you the strength to stay open when the world wants you to close down. Being soft means having the faith that kindness can last longer than abuse, and love can last through even the harshest winters. Being kind to yourself helps you do more than just get through the pain. It is changing because of you. By turning your pain into knowledge, kindness, and a living bridge for those who come after you, you are using your pain as raw material. Yes, the choice to notice, breathe, and soften again keeps the work going even on the days you forget. When you slip back into old hardness, when you shout at yourself, when you shut the door to your heart out of fear, there is no loss that can take away the seeds you plant. There is only the next breath, the next little kindness, the next trip back to love. Buddhism says that the habits you form now will shape your future lives, not some distant judge keeping track of your acts. The person you'll become will take over the fields you plant today. And when you plant fields of kindness, you send a gift into the future that will touch many lives and hearts that you will never see or know. Being gentle changes the present in ways that are too small to see but too strong for the heart to miss. You change the way you walk. You change the way you talk. You start to listen in a different way. People around you feel it, even if they can't put their finger on it. They can feel how soft you are around them. They feel safe when you look at them. They feel a soft call to let down their guard, take a deeper breath, and trust a little more. And slowly, the world around you starts to change. It doesn't change because you yelled at it or pushed it too, but because you showed others a different way to live. In this state, kindness is stronger than fear. A way of living that helps people instead of hurting them. Gentleness also works its way inside you, softening the hard spots that you thought would never change. Wrongs from the past start to heal. The old barriers start to fall apart. It gets easier to believe old stories. It seems like you can handle pain for longer without giving up. Because you don't feel bad, you can sit with joy for longer. It feels good to be with yourself, just the way you are, without having to run away. Also, this is how lives change. No, not by making big claims, not by trying so hard they could not, but by meeting yourself over and over with open hands, arms, and hearts in a steady, quiet beat. Let yourself feel the weight and wonder of what you are doing tonight as you breathe and drift off to sleep. You're not just making your own life better. You are helping many people. You are making tomorrow better. You are making a compassionate web that will last through every storm, every sadness, and every ending. Kindness trees are being planted by you to protect beings you have never met. You are shining mercy lights that will guide hearts you will never know. You are making love bridges that will help people cross oceans of fear and loneliness. It's not that you are perfect, it's that you want to do it. By being there, by being gentle when it would be easier to be harsh. This is the fate of being kind. You are leaving this heritage one breath at a time, one choice at a time, one act of mercy at a time. You're better than you think. You're not as tough as you think. Every small act of love you do for yourself changes the future. Believe that nothing is lost, even if you can't see it or believe it, or if the outside world seems to stay the same. Trust that each moment of kindness will reach more people than you can imagine, because love never ends once it starts. Like light moving through darkness, it lights the way, heals hearts, and weaves a future where kindness is the most powerful force of all. And it all starts with you, right now, in this breath. Being gentle starts to grow in your life. As you water the future with patience and kindness, something even deeper starts to grow inside you. While fear, shame, and doubt are making a lot of noise, a strong knowing starts to speak as a reminder, a comeback, a realization that there has always been something whole, bright, and holy waiting to be seen beneath every storm you've ever been through, every mistake, every loss, and every scar. Tonight is the start of your journey to trust the Bodhisattva that lives inside you. The Bodhisattva is not some saint or ideal that is far away or impossible to reach. Buddhists believe that the Bodhisattva is the part of each being that wants to awaken for the sake of all life, not just for itself. No matter how much pain you feel, the good that lives inside you will never die. The holy fire stays lit even when the winds of sadness are strong. It's the always present seed of kindness, knowledge, and bravery that has been with you since the beginning and is just waiting for you to remember it. This is something that most people never learn to trust. They learn to believe their fear, shame, and doubt. Their worth is weak, their goodness must be proven, and their value relies on always doing well. That's what they are taught. That's not how the Bodhisattva inside you has ever played. It doesn't get smaller when you fail. When you're scared, it doesn't die. When you feel lost, it doesn't go away. It's still there, steady, quiet, and unmoving, waiting for you to look inside yourself and find it. To learn to trust this inner Bodhisattva, you have to believe in your own hidden power, even if you can't feel it yet. It means not letting your scars, regrets, and confusion define who you are. It means learning to see past the storms on the surface to find the ocean of good that was always there. That you trust this goodness is not a sign of pride either. That's not pride. That's the best kind of humble. It means admitting that your wins did not make the light inside you, and your failures cannot destroy it. It was given. It was put there. No matter if you are aware of it or not, it is fundamental to your being. You stop seeing yourself as a work in progress when you trust your inner Bodhisattva. You start to treat yourself like a holy being in the middle of a beautiful and ancient story. There's no doubt in your mind that your anger, fear, or jealousy don't make you bad. They are the bad weather that comes with living, the storms that go over the mountain but don't move it. This also changes how you deal with the hardest times. And when you fail, you don't give up, because you know that mistakes don't hurt your deepest self. When old habits come back, you don't feel ashamed, because you know that the bodhisattva inside you is infinitely patient. It's not here to tell you off. It's here to walk with you, to get up with you, to shine through you. You learn a new kind of toughness when you trust your inner bodhisattva. Being tough doesn't mean having clenched teeth and an iron will. It means knowing that your spirit can't be broken, only hidden. You learn to handle hard times with the fierce tenderness of someone who knows their core has not changed. It shows you how to keep your heart open, even when things around you want you to close it. And this secret goodness shows itself more the more you trust it. It's not in big ways, not always at bright times, but during quiet nights, in the time you take to get to know someone, in how kind you are to yourself after a tough day. When you tell the truth, even though it makes your voice shake, that's bravery. You have a right to be here at this time. In your everyday life, they are the language of the Bodhisattva. They show that you are already waking up and becoming the compassionate person your heart has always known you to be. When you trust your inner Bodhisattva, you change how you see other people too. When you believe in the goodness that can't be destroyed inside you, you start to see it in other people too, even when it's buried under pain, fear, or cruelty. You start to see that everyone you meet has the same holy fire, the same desire to awaken, and the same hidden light that is waiting to be seen. This doesn't mean you're okay with hurt. It doesn't mean you let hurt happen to you. It means you should stop mixing up someone's actions with who they really are. It means you know that healing, awakening, and growth are messy, non-linear, and often painful paths. This means that you treat yourself and other people with the same kindness that the Bodhisattva inside you has always given. And finally, and this may be the most important thing, trusting your inner Bodhisattva means you no longer fear being human. Stop being mean to yourself for having strong feelings. You stop being hard on yourself when you're weak. When you trip, you stop giving up on yourself. You instead treat yourself with fierce kindness that tells you you are allowed to be human, you are allowed to be in process, and you are still sacred. Lie down and breathe tonight. Then put your hands over your heart and know that your bodhisattva nature is living, even if there is noise, fear, or self-doubt around you. Waiting, shining. Hold on. You don't need to work for it. You don't have to earn it. You don't need to show it. You just need to believe it. Just remember, you only need to take it one breath at a time to get back to the goodness that can't be destroyed and was never lost. It makes you more like it the more you trust it. You become more like it when you believe in it more. It makes people around you more awake the more you live from it. You're not hurt. You're still not too far away. You are not beyond being saved. You have always been and will always be a live flame of kindness. You always have been and will always be a ray of light. You have always been and will always be a bodhisattva in the making. Believe it. Take a deep breath. Take it on. There is a huge change when you finally start to believe in the good that is hidden inside you and see the unbreakable bodhisattva light that is underneath all your fear and pain. Don't try so hard to change who you are. Don't mix up your losses with how valuable you are. But there is still one more freedom that is waiting, one last chain that holds a lot of people in loops of shame. You enter tonight into one of the most freeing truths that Buddhism has to offer. You are not your flaws, because there is no set you at all. Tonight, you learn how to love yourself when you don't have anything to give. Buddhists teach that emptiness does not mean nothing. Free from a fixed identity is what it means. You have to realize that everything you think of as self is not real. This includes your stories, labels, flaws, and successes. It is a process that flows, changes, and depends on other things. You're not stuck inside a broken figure. You're a stream. You're like a song moving. You're not stuck in your mistakes. You are more than just one moment. When you look at yourself through the eyes of nothingness, your flaws become less important to you. You stop telling yourself things like, "I failed," "I'm broken," and "I'm not worthy." You start to understand that mistakes, struggles, and fears are just parts of you. They are not who you are. They are guests. These are only temporary situations, not final decisions. This awareness isn't cold or far away either. Being kind to yourself is one of the best things you can give yourself. Because you can hold your fear with kindness instead of shame, once you know you are not your fear. When you understand that your anger is not you, you can deal with it with interest instead of hate. When you understand that you are not your sadness, you can sit with it as a friend instead of getting lost in it. Seeing yourself through the eyes of emptiness means giving up the need to fix, polish, or show everything. It means being at peace with the vastness of your own being and knowing that no feeling, thought, or mistake can sum up who you are. It changes the way you live your life. You can change when you stop seeing yourself as set. You give yourself permission to forgive. You let yourself start over and over again, as many times as you need to. You understand that you are not stuck in one place or time forever. You are moving into new options, one breath at a time. This knowledge also teaches you how to treat the past with more care. You don't have to carry your past mistakes around with you like heavy stones anymore. You no longer have to say what the worst things you've done or been through are what make you who you are. You can see that those times were real. They made you who you are now, but they don't hold you back. You're not stuck in them. Any story about you isn't as big as you are. When you love with empty eyes, you also see that your worth doesn't depend on being perfect. It's part of being living. From taking part in the big, strange dance of life, from being a unique view of life itself, changing every moment in ways that no name, judgment, or fear can fully describe. When you see through nothingness, more than just your flaws, let go. Your skills, your accomplishments, and your pride are all seen with kinder eyes. You don't hold on to them as proof that you're good enough. You just bow to them as fleeting signs of life moving through you. Yes, it is beautiful. Yes, it's worth enjoying, but not what makes you valuable. This kind of love covers a lot of ground. It's not easy to break. It's not based on how well you heal or how well you do your job. Being aware that you are already whole under all of your highs and lows is the key. You're already very big. You're free already. And this picture brings a lot of peace, because you no longer have to spend your whole life clinging to success or running away from loss. No longer do you have to see every mistake as a threat to your life. With an open heart, you can take life as it comes, knowing that your inner self stays the same no matter what. As you rest and breathe tonight, let this fact sink in even more. You are not your flaws. You're not your fears. It's not you that you failed. You are the place where everything comes from and goes away. You're not the storm. You hold the storm in the sky. You're not the wound. The healing is in the breath that you are. You're not the sadness. You are the breath that stays steady when the waves come and go. You don't have to be perfect to be loved when you look at yourself through the eyes of nothingness. You can see that you were more than just your best day, more than the worst day of your life. Every day more. It's not broken that you want to be whole again. It takes time to learn how to remember things. There's no need to worry about getting lost. This is where you learn how to look at the world with softer eyes. You heal yourself and the world around you every time you come back to this knowing. Because a heart that knows how big it is can't help but see how big other people are too. When a heart sees its own freedom, it can't help but want freedom for everyone. You're not too much. You're not too little. There's nothing wrong with being who you are. You are a live thing that shows emptiness dancing into form. You are like a river that flows through 1,000 different settings. You are a note in the universe's song that never ends. You are beautiful all the time, even when you don't see it. You deserve good things, even if you don't feel like it, even when you don't remember it. You are love. Now, take a deep breath and feel this vastness. Rest inside it. Believe it. You're free. You were free all the time. When you stop thinking that any flaw or failure can define you and start to love yourself through the eyes of emptiness, you will find a huge amount of freedom. Changes happen to the way you breathe. Things change in your life. But even then, there is often one voice that tries to drag you back into old habits. Your inner judge. The voice that tries to push you down, scold you, and make you feel bad about yourself. You will meet that voice tonight in a way that not many people think to try. Not when there's war, not with fights that never end, but with laughter, which is much stronger. Being taken seriously helps the inner critic stay alive. You believe its harsh words are true because you are afraid, guilty, or both. You feel small in front of it, so it stands tall. There is less power in it when you laugh, though. Laughter makes it less big. When you laugh, it means you understand the game and are no longer playing it. It's like someone told you to be afraid of the voice that says, "You're not enough, you'll never change, and you're too broken." What if, though, it looks more like a cranky old clown that forgot its face paint? What if you didn't give in to it, but instead laughed softly and said, "Thanks for your opinion, but I'm busy living my life"? Adding humor and a sense of fun is not the same as making fun of yourself cruelly. It has to do with realizing how silly it is to think you're perfect. It's about realizing how silly it is to think that one bad day takes away all of your worth. It means taking a step back to see that your inner reviewer is most of the time just an old tape playing fears that don't even fit who you are anymore. It's easier to deal with your inner judge when you laugh at it. Stop trying to make it believe you. Its old script makes you smile and you move on. Stop giving it a stage. Don't give it the mic anymore. If someone says, "You're a disaster," you don't have to feel bad about it. Instead, you could laugh and say, "Yep, a beautiful, glorious disaster who still gets back up." If someone says, "You'll never get it right," you could wink and say, "Good thing perfection isn't the goal." The critic can't defend themselves with this kind of playful pushback because it doesn't take the attack seriously. It doesn't accept the speech as authoritative. It sees it as empty space, background noise, or the desperate hold of old fears that no longer have power. And the more you do it, the faster you can spot the reviewer when it comes up. It hits you in the middle of a sentence. The silly exaggerations start to come out. You start to notice how boring and repetitive it is, and you don't fight back. Instead, you laugh softly, shake your head, and take a light step forward. Getting in touch with your inner judge in this way also makes you stronger, because that voice might still come back once in a while, no matter how much you heal or grow. It will still scare you, but not as much. It will no longer tell you what to do. Your days will no longer be shaped by it. Laughter gives you back your power. It helps you remember that you are more than just one thought. It helps you remember that life is not a courthouse where you are always being judged. You are not here to meet an impossible standard of perfection. You are here to live, to explore, to fall and dance and wonder. Buddhism teaches that holding on to fixed ideas about oneself leads to pain. Being rigid is what the inner critic loves. You have to always be good. You have to always win. You can never fail. But comedy makes things more flexible. It makes the stories bend until they break. It gives you room. You can move, breathe, and just be with it. It's also not denial to laugh. Smarts like this are not the same. Having the choice to keep your heart light enough to float above the heavy things in life, even when you see their sadness and fear. It's not giving up when pain comes along. The kindest thing you can do for yourself is laugh at yourself. It's okay to be flawed. You show that by being loved. You show that making mistakes is not a moral failure, but rather a funny and messy part of being human. Take a moment to think about how different your life would be if you faced your toughest times with a smile instead of a whip. If you tripped and smiled and said, "Classic me," instead of falling down in shame, instead of feeling bad about yourself. If you forgot something important, you could say, "Guess I'm human after all." This is not putting down your problems. Getting free from the chains of excellence is what it means. It means letting yourself live, breathe, and love yourself, even the parts of you that are still learning how to love. This exercise changes the way you relate to yourself over time. The mean voice inside your head gets quieter, weaker, and less believable. Your days start to feel lighter as you work on being more positive. You laugh more often. You're quicker to forget. When things go wrong, you handle them with the ease of someone who knows they were never meant to be a figure, but rather alive. As you rest tonight, let yourself feel like you might be able to meet yourself with more laughing. Imagine that you are meeting your old fears with a smile instead of shaking. Let yourself feel the weight lift off your shoulders as you understand you can find humor in your own stumbles. Being flawed does not make you a failure. You're not going to fail because you are still learning. Being able to laugh at yourself doesn't mean you're broken. You're still living. We see you growing. Now you know that freedom doesn't mean never making mistakes. It means never letting mistakes take away your joy. Take a deep breath and feel free tonight. Let it rise up in you like a soft laugh that won't stop. The one that says, "I see it all, the beauty, the mess, the wonder, and I choose to keep loving anyway." You're already enough. You're already good enough. You are welcome to enjoy this crazy, flawed trip, flaws and all. When you start to laugh at the voice that used to be in charge of you and greet your own stumbles with a smile instead of a sword, your heart starts to feel soft in a way that lasts. You need to stop fighting with yourself. You start to see your humanity as something to be proud of instead of something to fight. But even then, one last heavy load often stays hidden in the heart, the thought that you are broken at your core. Giving up that story for good is one of the hardest things you can do tonight. The idea that you are basically broken did not come from you. It was whispered by voices that were hurt. It was shaped by painful events. It was made stronger by a world that makes money off of your fear. It was never true, though. It never really showed who you are. Being told the same story over and over again made it heavy, and you forgot that you didn't have to listen to it. Self-love grows when you realize that being human doesn't mean being broken. Being alive in a world full of loss, change, confusion, and wonder means that you are living. It means having a heart that holds both beauty and pain. To stumble and get back up, to lose and find, to hurt and get better. Not as a mistake, but as the very rhythm of life. Even though you have wounds, you are not broken. You're not broken just because you have questions. Broken scars don't mean you're broken. They just mean you still hurt at night. You are a live thing going through a world that wasn't meant to be easy. As a heart learns how to stay open after being hurt, you are it. And telling the story of being deeply broken was never your job. Letting go of that story doesn't mean you don't feel pain. There's no need to act like everything is okay. You have to understand that your pain is a part of your story and not the end of it. It's about refusing to let your pain define who you are. You stop living your life before it even starts when you hold on to the idea that you are broken. There are no bars where you sit. You're sorry for living. You run away from your own dreams. You don't show your own love. You can feel the truth rising through your chest like dawn when you let go of that story, even if it's just for a moment. You were never meant to be chained up. There was never going to be a single hurt that could explain who you are. When you let go of the story of being broken, you can stop treating your healing like a competition. You don't need to keep checking to see if you're fixed yet. You don't have to hide how messy your days were anymore. You understand that healing is not a goal you need to reach before you can be at peace. Getting better is how you love yourself through every season, even the ones when everything hurts. If you really love yourself, you won't say that you're fixed for good. It's about not asking the question at all. It's about knowing that you deserve love and care right now, no matter how you're feeling. Getting over the idea that you were broken also changes how you see your past. You no longer see your younger self as a bunch of mistakes. Instead, you see someone who did the best they could with the information they had at the time. Someone who made it through. Someone who always looked for light, even when it was all around them was dark. Stop being hard on yourself because you're still having problems. Problems don't mean you've failed. They show that there is life, that your heart is still beating, that you are still trying, that you are still brave enough to care. When you stop telling yourself that you are broken, you stop expecting life to be pain-free before you can feel joy. Stop putting off being happy until you are perfect. Even though you are unsure and your healing isn't done yet, You start to taste the sweetness that is there. You also understand that being truly strong doesn't mean acting like you have no problems. Real power comes from being able to deal with your wounds with love, grace, and humor. When you look at your scars and say, "I am still here," that's real strength. "I'm still changing," that's enough for now. Feel the old story slipping away tonight as you take deep breaths and let yourself rest. Like a heavy coat you don't need to wear, feel it slip away. Feel the lightness of who you really are rising up below. You're not broken because you want to be whole. You're learning how to live with kindness all over again. You're not broken while you're trying to be fixed. You are holy and learning how to show up. You're not the mistakes you made before you knew better. That pain you felt when you were too young to understand it is not you. You're not the shame that people who forgot their own light put in your heart. You are older, stronger, and more resilient than any wound. There is something softer, bigger, and stranger about you than any mistake. The story is changed every time you breathe in love instead of fear, or walk toward your heart instead of away from it. You're not hurt. You look beautiful. You're not flawed. The you are changing. You're not lost. You are walking on a road that is so old and holy that words could never describe it. Take that in tonight. Let it fill the empty spots that shame tried to take over. Let it fill in the gaps where old stories used to be. You're free. You were free all the time. Not because you are perfect, don't have any fears, or don't have any bad days, but because love was never about getting something. Because having worth was never about getting ahead. Because just being awake, aware, and here was enough all the time. Get rid of the old story now. Take a step into the vastness that's waiting below. Don't see yourself as something broken that needs to be fixed. See yourself as a holy, whole person who is alive right now.